I hate this
Recording
shit
in
now.
progress. Hello and welcome to the Quarantine Theater Company. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different here. I think Hunter came across it first, but then I came across a unproduced script for one of my favorite video games, and I think some people here as well, and others in this reading have no idea what it is, so it's going to be great. But Uncharted: Drake's Fortune. This got me through the first quarter of quarantine. All of the Uncharted games, literally one after the other. So yeah, this is gonna dedicate it to quarantine theater and quarantine. Joining us tonight, let me bring up the character list because I can't remember all of the characters'
Ma'am.
names. Ma'am is not a character.
Sorry. First,
The real
ma'am.
hero here, as always, doing our scene description is going to be Travis. Travis is going to be amazing. That's his hand. Oh, wow. That's super creepy.
Wallscons. Come on, Wallscons.
I'm sorry, Travis, are we doing The Conjuring? Anyway,
no.
That was really creepy. We've got, as Nathan Drake himself, Hunter. Oh, look at that. It's like an 80s sitcom. It was wonderful.
I feel like you're romancing this.
Victor Sully Sullivan. We've got Johnny. Oh, wait, is he going to do it too? Yeah, he is. My name's Anne, and I'll be Elena.
You're rocking that ponytail.
As Francesca, Frank Torres, and Eddie Raha, we've got Rudy. Come on, Rudy. Do the. You got to be happier than that and wave more if you're going to do the sitcom.
Eddie Raja or something. I don't know.
Sure, we'll go with it. And as Gabriel Roman and Atok Navarro and many other players as well, we've got Jen. Everywhere we look.
We can't clear that.
Oh, shit. Already ruined this. Anyway. Without further ado, because we've been trying to do this for 45 minutes now, take us away, Travis.
Uncharted: Drake's Fortune by David O. Russell, based on the video game Uncharted: Drake's Fortune by Naughty Dog, Columbia Pictures. British flagship, the Defiance, 3,000 miles west of Chile. South Pacific Ocean, March 13th, 1597. Exterior, the Defiance, bridge, day, a gray fog so thick we can only see the forward half of the ship. From over the gunwale, a pair of crew hands drop a canvas wrapped dead body into the sea. That's a ship thing. The crew shares conspirational glances. Haggard from malnourishment. Well, that's their fault. And months at sea, they arm themselves. Cut to the map, an intricate hand-drawn sea map held down by cannonballs. In fact, beyond intricate, it is incomprehensible. Lines, dots, and arrows go to and fro without so much as a word written on it. We pull back to reveal interior captain's quarters. Day. Standing over the map is Sir Francis Drake, 53. Hardly the stiff-necked aristocrat. He is as rough as his crew, with the bedroom eyes of a rogue.
Captain Drake. Crew would have a word.
Sir Francis turns to see the angry crew standing at his door. He picks up his pipe and a match, unconcerned.
Would you? Just one.
14 ships lost. Quarter rations for months. And stores as bare as Adam.
And even the navigator has no idea where we lie.
Queen herself has given us this mission, and I've sworn an oath to its secrecy.
Stuff the queen and stuff your oaths, sir. You lead us to death as sure as the sirens do.
Sir Francis stays calm, amused even.
I take it you propose an alternate course of action.
We propose to turn this ship around.
Sir Francis strikes a match. Supremely calm, he lightens his pipe, those always smell good, and takes a long drag.
Over my rotting corpse.
As you decide, Captain.
Up comes the swords and knives. Sir Francis delivers a vicious kick to one of the barrels that forms a leg from his map table. Black powder pours out of the hole he created. The crew realizes it is a keg of gunpowder, as are the other three legs of the table. Everyone freezes. Sir Francis holds the lit match over the spilling powder. Sir Francis still grins as he addresses his terrified men, himself calm as a cucumber.
Now you listen to me, you faithless dogs. We will not turn, we will not tarry. We are the finest crew ever to sail God's blue. We will go onward, and we will go to hell. But I'll bargain with the devil himself before I turn tail from such treasure as we're after.
Suddenly, something lands on the window ledge behind Sir Francis. A bird! Everyone seems shocked except Drake.
Land ho, lads. Man the guns.
Interior defiance, gun deck day. Below deck, the cannon doors are yanked open, gun crews shouldering their cannons into firing position, peering out, hoping for some sign of good fortune. Exterior, Isla Ocutla. Yeah, Spanish port, city day. The Defiance emerges from the thick fog into a wide city lagoon, surrounded a partially sunken Spanish port city. Huge cracks splinter the fort's foundations and black powder marks abound. Through the crew waits tensely for an alarm. None comes. No one and nothing moves, save an oddly swirling green mist that eddies about the fort.
Ship ho!
Up ahead, a half-sunken galleon, crests like shattered up mountain from the surface of the lagoon. Interior, exterior, half-sunken galleon. They, prown down only her poop deck and mizzenmast, rise above the water. Sir Francis and his first mate stand on the ruined ship's deck, carefully examining her wreckage.
Any clues to who sunk her? I'd like to know who beat me to the task.
One of the sea hands joins from the hold below.
The cannon holes I found shatter out, Captain. They sunk for themselves.
What?
Found Captain.
Spanish amulet covered with blood and gore. It's about the only recognizable thing on the shredded body of the Spanish captain.
Not a captain, an admiral. That's Alvarado, or what's left of him.
Did something happen? Did something eat his face?
Suddenly, a figure whisks past the window outside. All the men draw their muskets.
Something that's still here.
Submerged hold. Sir Francis and his men creep through the knee-high water gun drawn. The cavernous space is pockmarked with blood stains and powder blasts of a battle.
Surrender yourself, friend. We're not after you, just your queen's gold.
Suddenly, a dark form leaps out, ripping through the sea hand. There's a flurry of tearing sounds as Drake and his men turn to shoot.
May the Lord have mercy upon our souls.
Blam! We hear the sound of gunfire as we pull up from the half-sunken galleon to reveal the entire lagoon and an entire fleet of Spanish ships sunk beneath its surface. Aerial shot of Flavio Vigil. Yeah, we soar over a dense Brazilian slum, perched vertically on the side of a cliff overlooking a pristine beach dotted with five-star hotels. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Flavio Vigil today. The aerial shot comes to rest on a battered, dilapidated wooden structure hanging out over the cliff. Precariously, we move through an open window and into Bar Corando. Oh, that sounds fun. Lazy ceiling fans barely stir the air. Rough patrons populate the rundown bar, playing dominoes, running women, or simply nursing their drinks. With his back to the window, we came in, we find Nathan Drake, 30s, grunty t-shirt, jeans. He's the only gringo in the place, but nobody takes him for an easy mark. He's got the supreme confidence of a man who's figured all the angles and the eyes of a guy who's seen it all. Sitting down the other side of the table is Atul Navarro, 30s, of Mezquito Indian descent. Yes. He sports a knife scar on his left cheek and a scowl to match it on the right. Two of Navarro's Mezquito thugs, 20s, huge guys with stone monuments for faces, standing, flanking him.
Remind me to pick the place next time.
The hidden gem. You gotta try Palos Mosqueda. He does something with the plantains. It's unbelievable.
I'm not hungry. You brought the cash?
That depends. You brought the map?
Another of Navarro's thugs step into the bar, making a beeline for Navarro. He whispers in his
It's not in his room or on the boat. He must have it with him.
From the thug's jacket, Navarro pulls a map case. He gingerly unfurls the map on the crude wooden table. It is a sailing map, hand-drawn, antique. We recognize it as a similar to Sir Francis' strangely marked map. Nate pores over the map, his eyes filled with excitement.
I was surprised when I found out you were looking for this one. Hardly a remarkable item. No attribution. No attribution. Come on. Navarro, no location. Not even a date on it. May I ask what you think it is?
Let's go away.
Navarro smiles. Nate not about to let on what he knows. Nate leans down closer to the map, inspecting closely, and when he does, a narrow rawhide cord around his neck spills out from under his shirt, and on that cord, an old silver ring. Navarro's eyes go right to it, mesmerized.
It's genuine. I was expecting you to try to sell me a fake.
He reaches around his waist, pulling out a transparent money belt rich with stacks of $100 bills. Navarro raises a finger. His thugs draw their pistols.
Never, old friend.
Nate strains up, cash in hand, only to be staring down the barrel of all of 3 guns.
Problem, old friend?
More like a wrinkle. Instead of getting the map, why don't you give me the key?
What key?
The ring around your neck, the one that can interpret the map.
Nate smiles.
Haddock, you shifty bastard. You know more than you're letting on.
Maybe a little, Nathan. Turns out we may be looking for the same thing is all, and despite how you amuse me, my employer likes to keep his overhead low.
His men cock their pistols.
You should know, I'm not just going to walk away from this one. I spent half my life trying to find this.
Is that so? Strange. Because this is more than just business for me as well.
Nate snaps his fingers, guns cocking. Navarro sees 8 of the toughs, around the bar, leveling guns at them.
You know, the great thing about favelas, labor costs. Can't get a better deal on gunmen in this day and age.
How much did you pay them?
About 50 US.
That was always your problem, Nate. You never had enough money to do it right. That's why I offered them 100.
Nate smiles drops. He realizes all the guns are pointed at him. He singles out the bartender, Paulo.
Really, Paolo? You too?
Sorry, Senor Nate, but with the recession.
Unbelievable.
Suddenly, Nate slips and falls, or so it seems. Actually, he drops down on his back, hands positioned behind his head, so he can kick the river's underside of the table up and into Navarro's face, splintering it. The 2 halves of the table continue upward and hit the pistols of Navarro's men, deflecting them as they fire. Their shots narrowly miss rolling Nate, but their bullets rip apart the dropped money belt, revealing it's mostly filled with just folded paper. Meanwhile, the map, which was on the table that was kicked into the air, gets caught on the rotating blade of one of the lazy ceiling fans. The thugs shift aim as Nate rolls under the corner of the bar and out of view. He pulls out his 2 silver-plated 9mm pistols from behind his back. The thugs spread out, looking for an angle where they can see him. Nate pops up and unleashes 3 quick shots, dropping back down behind him and cover before anyone can shoot back. The rest of the bar, Navarro looks around his men, trying to see if they are hit. They all are still standing. Navarro smiles.
Want me to show you how to use those?
Then all 3 of his thugs sway and drop dead.
I'm good, thanks.
Navarro whistles. Into the bar. Into the bar come 6 more thugs. These one armed with submachine guns. Navarro points out Nate's location at the far end of the bar. Paulo sees the submachine guns aimed his way.
No!
He hits just as automatic fire carves up the far end of the bar and the wall behind him. Nate stares through the Swiss cheese holes in the bar, his eyes connecting with Paulo, similarly prone.
Can we agree you made a mistake, Paolo?
Paulo doesn't respond, terrified, and then Nate sees the reason why. Paulo's wife was huddled over a tortilla press on the floor just on the other side of the bar from Nate. The automatic fire misses her head by inches. The thugs adjust aim to fire again at Nate. Paulo's eyes voice as Simon.
Wait.
Nate drives away from the cover. He crosses nearly empty bar. Automatic fire, chewing to his heels, almost catching up. When Drake throws his legs ahead of his body in a drop kick, knocking over the lone standing table on the rim, giving him mere inches of cover, and the bullets catch up with him. They eat up the table, and one gets through and catches Nate in the arm. He winces in pain. Navarro smiles, holding the money belt filled with blank paper.
Just another gringo coming to rip off the natives, eh, Nate? I suppose that's what I'm to expect from a street rat like you.
Nate searches for some means of escape. Behind him, the rear wall is Swiss cheese. He fires 2 more bullets. Boom, boom, and a large chunk of the wall falls away. A gust of wind blows. Hey, they cut the cheese because the wall. Anyway, a gust of wind blows through the large hole. It lifts the map off the blade into the opening. It wasn't what Nate had planned on.
No.
Navarro sees what Nate saw.
Hijo de puta.
Nate jumps out from behind the table, racing from the map. Navarro and his men shift aim. The map flutters out in the hole, but Nate dives onto the hole after it, into midair. For a beat, Navarro and the thugs listen for a blood-curdling scream or some loud collision. None come. They race to the window. Nothing but 100-foot drop to the beach. No sign of Nate. Creak. A board beneath Navarro shifts. We hurtle under the bar. With the map in his teeth, Nate hangs on for dear life to a lone support beam jutting out the steep hillside. Back in the bar, Navarro looks down at the cracks between the wooden floor slats. He catches a glimpse of shadow moving down there.
He's below!
The thugs shift their aim and unleash a fusillade of lead, chewing up the ground under the bar, gun in one hand, wooden beam on the other hand, a map still in his teeth. Nate can only watch as the bullets chew up the support beam as he's holding. The bullets rain down. The support beam cracks and splinters.
This is gonna hurt.
The beam snaps and the entire structure starts to lean, moaning as it teeters toward oblivion. Back in the bar, the floor of half the bar curves downward. Navarro dives into the structurally sound part of the bar, but 2 of the Navarro's thugs aren't so lucky. Crack. Half of the bar rips apart from the other half and dangles over the cliff face. Under the bar, Nate lets go of the beam. He free falls 20 feet below. He slams into a tin shack, continuous slap. Nate hits in the bamboo floor hard. Shards of the tin roof everywhere. Just then, Nate looks up, his eyes going wide in fear. He dives 3 feet to his left. As half of the bar comes crashing down on top of him, Nate pulls his arms and legs into his body, making his profile as small as possible, and he passes harmlessly through an open window of the falling bar. Interior, exterior destroyed. Bar section continuous. Now inside the remains of the bar, comes face to face with 2 thugs who slowly rise. Creak, crack.
Oh no.
The hillside gives away. The destroyed bar continues sliding down the hill, plowing through an obstacle in its way. All 3 men try to balance on the undulating floor like they're on an immense surfboard. The thugs train their weapons on Nate. Nate's guns are in their holsters. He takes a deep breath.
Adios, imbecile.
Suddenly, a telephone pole shoots through a wall behind Nate, flying on thugs, causing them to duck. When they come back all the way, they see Nate holding a rug of the pole, using its momentum to carry him into them. Nate kicks 1 thug in the face and tackles the second. The remains of the bar drop another 20 feet, landing on a steep grassy slope where it picks up speed. Nate slams against the door. The thugs above him swings his gun around. Nate pushes off a wall, launching himself at a thug. Just as he fires, the bullet misses Nate by inches. Nate swings his feet, and ahead they land into the thug's chest, capulating him out of the window of the bar. Exterior, the bar above, continuous. At the edge of the broken bar, Navarro sees one of his guns fly out of the bar and gets crushed by it. It slides toward the bottom of the cliff, where a photo shoot is taking place at a resort pool. Navarro gets on his phone.
He's headed for the resort.
Exterior resort pool day in VO POV. A beautiful lagoon, complete with a waterfall. Bikini models pose around the foliage. And in front of the cameras, a polished SUV and Elena Fisher, late 20s. Elena is a beautiful woman, a tanned blonde in a white bikini. She's enough of a pro not to let on she hates this current assignment.
This is Elena Fisher for Adventure TV. Today we'll be diving off the coast of Brazil with some of the world's top swimwear models, sponsored by the all-new 2010 Cadillac Escalade.
And cut.
Elena's smile drops. She walks over to the video village and watches the playback with the director and producers.
Come on, guys, there's a C-stand in the background and a flare off the fender.
The director signs audibly and heads over to the crew.
Guys, there's a C-stand in the shot.
Elena grabs her iPhone and heads to the craft service table. Who doesn't? Carl's 40. Her agent and friend joins her.
Remind me how this is part of the plan.
This increases your on-camera experience, and it ups your visibility.
So does porn.
I can set that audition.
You're an awful agent. You know that? Don't you, right?
Just hang in there, kid. Everyone's gotta pay their dues.
Sorry. Major Jeff Goldblum vibes. Really, what dues did Wolf Blitzer pay?
He hosted Supermarket Sweep for the first 2 seasons.
I am dying to hear him say Seth Brundle. Anyway, Ellen's eyes narrowed up, leaving it for a second.
Wolfie did the indie journalist route. Broke some story on human rights violation, and that was his calling card.
What a whore.
What amazing Jeff Goldblum. Smash! The pulverizing remains of the bar tumbles into the pool. The models scream, "Ah!" Nate bursts out of the water, causing the models to scream again. "Ah!" He puts his guns away, fixes his hair, and walks right for Elena.
Afternoon.
A thug erupts out of the foliage, firing a bullet of wheezes inches from Elena's face. Nate launches himself into flying tackle and breaks the thug's arm badly. The gun drops to the neck. Nate head butts him unconscious. Suddenly, more thugs rush out of the foliage. Nate grabs the phone out of Elena's hand.
Sorry. Emergency.
Nate jumps into the polished Cadillac Escalade. It's an 11-year-old car, and disappears as his head ducks beneath the dash.
It doesn't have keys.
The Escalade starts up. Nate hot-wired in its 6 seconds. He revs up the engine, and the Escalade pulls out. Navarro thugs give chase, leaving everyone else shell-shocked. Elena stares after him, less shocked than the others and more intrigued. Exterior dock day. Nate pulls up in the Escalade, leaving it running. He gets out, racing down the dock. His ear is to the phone.
Sully, it's me. I got the Drake map. I'm heading to the trawler. Take the plane and I'll text you the coordinates.
Nate races for the dive trawler anchored at the far end when it suddenly explodes. The blast wave docks Nate clear off the dock and into the water. Dry dock night. Malcolm's 20s Jamaican uses a dirty rag to wipe engine oil off his hands as he opens a supply closet. Inside, looking like a drowned rat, is Nate.
No.
I'm in a real tight spot here.
Nate steps out of the closet, bringing with him a duffel bag he kept stashed there.
That wouldn't be why there are big guys with big guns prowling around my shop, would it?
I need a boat.
I just fixed your boat.
Nate winces as he removes a piece of shrapnel from his shoulder. He pulls gauze from his duffel from the wound.
And now it's at the bottom of the bay. I thought you'd guarantee your work.
I guarantee if my clients pay.
I told you I'm going to get you the money, but see, that's where I need your help. I need a boat, a dive trawler. If I don't get out of here before those guys find me, I can't get you your money, see?
No, I don't see. Nathan, you liar and a cheat, and I'll have nothing more to do with you. Have you noticed all the bad things happening in your life lately? You're cursed, Nathan. Judged by a good Lord himself. He telling you you're gonna change your ways. You ain't gonna change.
I'll take a dinghy with a winch.
Won't help. Can't help. There's only one dive trawler in the bay, and that lady with the film crews got it rented out for the rest of the week.
Nate smiles, gears turning. He closes the first aid kit.
Really?
Exterior resort, restaurant balcony night, an elegant restaurant balcony, candlelit tables, the moon's reflection, glistening in an undulating ocean. Elena sits at a table in the far corner of the balcony, looking at the screen of her brand new iPhone. Suddenly, Nate appears. He's wearing a sports jacket. He even shaved, cleans up pretty good when he needs to. He sits down across from her and slides her phone to her. Now she has two phones instead of one.
Thanks for loaning me your phone. Oh, your car is down by the dock.
Not anymore. The police said someone left it unlocked with the engine running. It's probably entering Paraguay now.
Surname. The big auto theft ring operates out of surname.
And you're a man who knows such things?
I'm a man who knows such things.
Waiter appears with two drinks. He sets a drink in front of Elena and a beer in front of Nate. Elena's surprised but tries to hide it. She takes a sip.
Mojito. You know what I drink?
Do I?
All right. You've made your approach. You've brought me a drink. Now, would you be telling me a story? Ooh. Oh, wait, I know. Tell me the one with the machine guns and the people that try to murder you.
Sorry. Most of that is confidential.
Of course it is. I'll just be too intrigued and have to pursue you for the information. And oh, so slowly, I'll pry it out of you because despite great reluctance and because for some reason, maybe it's the moon or maybe the drinks, but tonight you find me irresistible.
Nate extends a hand across the table. Elena takes it.
Nate. Mysterious stranger.
Elena, intrigued reporter. Can I ask you a question?
I was hoping you would.
She leans in. Nate leans in as well. She motions with a finger, beckoning him closer. She whispers in his ear.
Why do you want my boat?
I thought there was going to be something more exciting than that whisper. Anyway, Nate smiles in assurance, crack. He's shocked, and it takes a moment too long to try and hide it.
Your boat.
I mean, a dive trawler blew up right near where you left the Escalade, and all those men with machine guns were crawling all over the docks. And did I make an incorrect assumption that you might be looking for a replacement boat?
Just a hint of a smile. She's playing him.
Oh, you're good. Very good.
Thank you. I'm aware. So we've established I've got a boat. What is it you're prepared to pony up for the barter? And please realize that your charm and pleasure of company, while very nice, I'm sure, not what I'm in the market for.
Nate furrows his brow. This isn't going the way he planned, but he's quick enough on his feet.
You seem like the kind of woman who doesn't go to the bathroom without a plan. I'm guessing this conversation would have ended before your mojito arrived if you didn't know exactly what you want from me.
Elena nods. He's got her there.
Everybody wants something from everybody, right? I'm a reporter, and you're a guy being chased by men with machine guns. What do you think I want?
Nate smiles broadly. A deal is struck. Later, several dishes lie partially touched. A wine bottle is 3/4 empty. least they touch the wine. Elena and Nate both lean in close to the lone candle illuminating.
At 16, he made his first transatlantic voyage. By 20, he had robbed the fabled Silver Train, and by 26, he had raided half of the strongholds of the Spanish Main. Sir Francis Drake was England's greatest mariner, and probably the best treasure hunter the world has ever known. And then, right at the height of his fame and power, he dies. Suddenly. He's quickly buried at sea in a hidden location off the coast of Panama. Why? Why not the noble funeral back in England he earned? And what about his fortune? Only a fraction of which has ever been accounted for. Finding his coffin is the key to one of the great historical mysteries. And I know where it is.
Nate unfurls the map, laying it out between them.
Is it a map? There's no words on it.
Exactly. No windrows showing which way is north, no location names, no legend, no key. Drake encrypted his maps, so they were useless to anyone but him.
So then how do you read it?
Nate pulls the rawhide cord from around his neck and shows Elena the silver ring.
The Drake ring. This is what started me down this road. Drake once called it the key to the adventure of his life.
Nate shows Elena the inside of the ring, markings, words.
Sick Harvest Magna?
Greatness comes from small beginnings. The Drake family motto. But that's not the most intriguing marking.
Elena notices one other mark, the symbol of an eye. Nate rolls the ring along the map until it finds the same symbol, the eye. He stands the ring up so the eye inside the ring lines up exactly over the one on the map.
I don't understand.
Nate puts his finger to his lips.
Just watch. Words don't do this justice.
Nate takes the candle on the table and moves it to the edge of the map, where sure enough, a tiny candle symbol is. Nate places the candle up atop its symbol, and as the candle light shines through the hoop of the ring, the map changes. The grooves forming the words inside the ring reflect lines of light crisscrossing along the map. Two of the lines of the light cross a series of curved lines and now making them readable as words. Suddenly, one coastline reads Playa Aranja, and an island Aranja.
Playa Aranya.
Playa Aranja. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I've been there. And an island in the middle of the map reads Isla Hopa.
Keep going.
Isla!
Yeah. No. Yes. I was
Isla.
thinking like
Isla, not Isla.
Isla. Yes. Like
Right.
Isla Sorna and all that type of spots. They don't exist, but I mean they could. And the final two lines of the light, they cross each other in the middle of the sea, forming an X. An X. Elena shivers with excitement. She puts her hand on Nate's. She puts her hand on Nate's accidentally. Okay. They look into each other's eyes. The moment is electric. And then she pulls away.
Okay. So what now? How exactly does treasure hunting work? I mean, is it legal to pull up 300 years of old coffins? I mean, shouldn't you be telling some museum or maybe like, I don't know, the English government?
Those thieves? I do my best to steer clear of them.
And the big guys with the guns, they thieves too? I mean, what makes you the good guy in all this, and why should I trust you?
She belongs in a museum. Nate's losing her, and he knows it. He takes Elena's notepad and starts writing on it.
There are no good guys or bad guys. There are only lines and the men who cross them.
He slides the notepad over to her.
What is this?
A contract. Granting you total and exclusive access to the greatest treasure hunt in modern times.
Then Elena notices the signature.
Nathan Drake.
Nate flashes that $1 million smile and winks.
Why do you think he's been an obsession of mine? Come on, let's go dig up Grandpa.
Exterior Western Caribbean day. A dive trawler in a perfect blue sea. Reggaeton music blasts. Interior passageway day. Elena navigates the narrow hallway. Then music's louder.
Nate! Nate!
Interior Nate's cabin day. Elena enters the simply empty cabin. She hears really energetic. If off key, singing to Gasolina. Interesting. Elena turns to see Nate through the transparent door of the shower, lathering his hair and belting out the Spanish rap. At least his Spanish is perfect.
Piragua, piragua, cool block of ice, piragua.
See what I mean? Perfect. She quickly turns away. She backs slowly out the door and freezes. Temptation sets in. She takes a second look at his tan body, and all over tan tells us more about Nathan Drake. Then she notices his duffel bag, because clearly that's the attractive thing in the moment. The only personal possession in the room she can't resist. She opens it. She pulls out ammo boxes, a counterfeit plate, a bundle of dress clothes. In fact, the ones he wore the other night, a switchblade, 4 different passports, a grenade, a lockpick set, and a stuffed folder labeled Drake and anti-ghost armor. Oh, nope, no, that wasn't in there. Elena flips through the folder. Handwritten notes, aged manuscript, genealogical trees, but then something catches Elena's eye in the duffel. She pulls out a shoebox packed with photos. A young Nate with a distinguished woman who must be his mom. A teenage Nate with an older man, who we will learn is Sully, not the Hudson Sully, holding up a barnacle encrusted cross.
I was wondering how far you wanted to take the concept of total access.
Lena spins around, spotting a wet Nate holding a towel around his waist. He reaches back into the shower, shutting it off.
It was snooping. Sorry. Professional hazard.
Nate grabs his jeans and drops the towel. Embarrassed, Elena spins around to avoid looking.
In my defense, I'm out here in the middle of the sea with a guy I hardly know, and my cat's making out with my shoe.
Nate realizes she has a point.
Is that a metaphor or a euphemism?
Nope. Literally, he's making out with my shoe.
I mean, when you go over to the Caribbean, cats make out with shoes.
Travis Stone improv.
Sorry.
You're right.
Nate realizes she has a point. Elena hands him the photos.
You're right. Ask whatever you want.
The older woman. Your mother? She's very beautiful. and the man, he's your dad.
Sully is a lot of things, but father?
So you don't have a picture of your dad?
Had one. Lost it.
He decides not to press the issue.
Okay. Where are you from? Where's home?
You just rifled through it.
Look, you obviously don't want to answer anything, and
there's just nothing to say. You know people who are their jobs. That's me. I run a historical lost and found. King so-and-so lost some jewel-encrusted crap. That means today I'm researching in a library archive, and tomorrow I'm in Borneo digging it up.
And this jewel-encrusted crap, you put it in a museum?
I find smaller collections pay better. Private ones.
So it's all about the money.
For every 10 things I search for, I'm lucky if I find one. So yeah, I make damn sure that one pays off.
Then today you might be payday. That magnetometer thing, it's pinging.
Ping, ping. A smile crosses Nate's lips. Exterior dive trawler day. Off the stern, a crane dangles cables. Exterior underwater day. We follow the cables down the seafloor through a Sargasso sea of kelp beds. Under we find Nate and Elena wearing wetsuits and scuba equipment. Nate is pulling the crane's cables toward the iron casket of Sir Francis Drake. Nate carefully connects the cable hooks with the stays, creating a cradle for bringing the casket up. Dive trawler day. The crane monitor chugs away, chug, 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 chug. As it lowers, it catches the deck. Elena got her video camera out as Nate runs his hand over the ancient casket.
What you are seeing is the end of one of the greatest mysteries in the history of exploration. This is the coffin of Sir Francis Drake, pirate, explorer, and adventurer, lost for centuries, now found by his descendant, Nathan Drake.
Nate Drake jams the crowbar in a seam and forces the top of the casket off. Dusty air escapes from the airtight chamber. Nate coughs as he breathes in a lungful. He steps towards the casket. So does Lena. Breathless, anticipation comes around behind him, squinting as she peers into the casket, expecting rotten remains.
Oh my God, it's empty.
Casket, sure enough, there's no body inside, but there is something inside, wrapped in oil skin.
I knew it! I knew it! You sly old bastard. You tricked everyone, but you didn't trick me.
He unwraps it carefully.
What are you so happy about? There's no body here.
Check your contract. The deal was finding the coffin. Never promised you a body.
Lena's initial shock over Nathan's blast attitude dissipates with realization. She's been screwed.
You knew he wasn't in there, didn't you? You were after... What is that anyway?
Beneath the oilskin, Nate finds a small leather-bound journal of a coat of arms on its cover. His eyes brighten.
The answer to what happened to Sir Francis. The 15 ships under his command.
Lena looks off the distance, brow furrowed.
Boats?
No. Ships. Here's the difference.
Lena stares over Nate's shoulder.
No. Boats.
Ships are mostly big. Boats are mostly small. A ship can hold a boat, but a boat can never hold a ship.
Lena grabs Nate and turns him to see what she sees. Sure enough, 5 speedboats close in on the dive trawler.
Like I said, boats. Who are they?
Damn. Pirates.
Very funny. Let me know when the ninjas show up.
Nate ignores her and goes for one of his equipment boxes. He flips it open, revealing 2 chrome-plated 45s. He stuffs extra magazines in his pockets.
Whoa, wait, are you serious?
Automatic gunfire erupts from the speedboats. Spontaneously, Elena screams as Nate pushes her head down behind the crane just as bullets right off.
They're shooting at us!
Relax. My business, we call that negotiating. Just keep your head down. I can talk our way out of this.
What?
And then the gunfire stops. The speedboats form a circle
Crazy.
around the trawler.
Kamu! Nate! Thank you! That you, buddy?
Nate face drops.
Oh no.
Nate pops his head up and gets a good look at his opponents. 5 speedboats, each manned by 3 Indonesian pirates, and their leader is Eddie Raya. Eddie's diminutive and mouthy with crazy eyes, and a crazy mind. Welcome to the club.
Eddie Raha, how the hell are you?
Me? I'm good. Right now, top of the world.
You're still upset about that little thing back in Jakarta?
What thing? Sleeping with my sister?
No, the other thing. It's not what it sounds like.
Elena just shoots him a look and turns her camera on him.
Cheating me in poker? That poker game.
No, the other thing.
Oh, you must mean stealing the Jade Empress and screwing me out of my cut!
That would be it. You still mad about that? We both know I just beat you to the punch.
You did break rule number 1.
Sorry. What's rule number 1?
Don't
Mess with Eddie
Rod.
What can I do to make it up to you, buddy?
Maybe you just stick your head out a little bit more.
Anything else?
Nothing comes to mind.
Suddenly, Nate pops up and fires his pistol at the pirate boat, sneaking up behind him. He doesn't have the stance of a marksman. In fact, his is beyond sloppy. But the results: 6 bullets, 3 pirates go down. Double tap, center mass. Eddie and the other pirates on his boat open fire with AK-47s, peppering the crane gantry with lead.
Move it! Move it! Circles! Don't give him any easy shot!
The speedboats power up. They circle the trawler at about a 20-foot distance, too far for Nate to get to them, too close for them to miss. Bullets ring and ricochet off the crane as Nate and Elena huddle in their tiny silver off protection near the wheelhouse. The bullets sever an electrical line and it dances and sparks.
What did you get me into?
Wanted a real story. Good guys, bad guys, adventure.
So where are the good guys?
Funny.
Then Nate notices the crane control panel not far off.
See the red lever on the control panel over there? When I yell now, push it to the right. Can you do that?
Elena nods, scared. Nate sticks his pistols out of the crane gantry and fires off shots in all directions. And then he runs off the stern off the boat.
Now!
Elena heads to the control panel. On the ground around her gets peppered with gunfire. She dives back to cover, hyperventilating, leaving Nate exposed, waiting for her.
Now!
Elena steals herself and then runs from cover, reaching the control panel. She pushes the red lever. The crane springs to life, rotating quickly. Then loose cables on the end of the crane swing wide. Nate grabs on the cables as it passes, and it perfectly catapults him out of the sea. He times it perfectly, letting it go and landing right on pirate speedboat. His momentum threatens to carry him right off the back until he clotheslines the 2 pirates off the stern, knocking him into the water. Behind him, the pirate driving the boat spins. AK at that ready, blam! He falls to his knees. Surprised, Nate fires his gun around his neck without even looking. He drops his pistol in favor of the AK-47. He straffens the pirate's boat behind him. Like dominoes, they all go down, but gunfire erupts from up behind as well. He spins to see the pirates on the boat in front of him, and they have him dead to rights when slam! The swinging cables of the crane lash out and knock them into the other. Nate looks over at Elena. She's still working on the controls.
Not bad. Not half bad.
On the trawler, the sparking wire reaches a gas canister. Wonderful. It blows up and fire quickly engulfs the wheelhouse. Eddie calls the other 2 circling boats.
I really hate that guy. The boat. He's on our boat.
Everyone shifts aim to the speedboat Nate is on. Nate dives for the wheel, slamming down the throttle. The boat careens forward, throwing a powerful wake. Eddie pushes his diver aside, powering his throttle as well, and the chase is on. Suddenly, Eddie ducks in the time to narrowly miss the swinging cables from the crane.
Where does he find these women?
He ducks again as Elena swings the cables back at him. One of the pirates takes a cable of the face and is knocked into the sea. Eddie fires at Elena, causing her to duck. Ping, ping. The gunfire puts holes in the steel drum next to her. Fuel is written on its side.
Nate! Nathan!
Nate ducks to avoid incoming gunfire. He pulls hard on the wheel, Salmon to dodge the heaviest fire.
I'm kind of busy.
But then Nate sees the fire spreading.
Fantastic.
Gunfire stops. His conversation dead. He looks ahead and spots 2 of the other boats heading dead on for him. Nate swerves around the boat, punching the throttle and turning back toward the second boat. His speedboat leaps the wake for the first boat, catching air and careening over the second boat, knocking all the pirates into the sea. The gas advances toward the wheelhouse fire. Elena grabs wetsuits and tries to form a dam. For a moment it works. until another barrage of fire punctures more drums. The revelant becomes a river. The gas races for the fire.
Nate!
Nate glances over and sees the disaster brewing. He spins the wheel, turning the boat to face his trawler.
I'm coming.
Another pirate speedboat closes. Nate fires the AK. Click. Empty. The pirates smile. They got him now. He reaches behind his back, drawing off his pistols. Cool as a cucumber. They really are that cool. He plunges the driver. The boat spins out of control, and Nate shoots the disoriented gunman. Nate guns the engine, racing right for the trawler. The gas reaches the flames. Elena trapped, surrounded by oil drums. She spins to see Nate suddenly very close. Nate lets out a primal yell.
Woo!
He's in his body. The speedboat slams into the side of the trawler. Just as Nate leaps into the air, his momentum carries him clear over the deck. He reaches out with his arms, grabbing Elena by her shirt and pulling her with her overboard. Just as the flames reach the drums, the trawler explodes, raining debris in every direction. Exterior open sea, continuous debris rains down on the sea. No sign of Nate or Elena. Elena's video camera breaks its surface first. A moment later, Nate and Elena's surface. Elena coughs out a healthy dose of seawater. She spins around to see the trawler, a burned out hulk already.
I think you might be in order.
That was nice work with that crane.
Thanks, I just pretended it was an immunity challenge.
Nate gives her a questioning look.
That's how I got my start. Survivor, season 4, runner-up. Really? No, that's bullshit.
What's Survivor?
Around the wreck comes Eddie's speedboat. Eddie backs the boat toward Nate and Elena. The engine propellers cutting through the water like a stats.
Boy, I'm the survivor here. All around the world, people will cheer the day Eddie Rock cut Nathan Drake to shreds.
Nate and Elena can only watch the blades grow closer, but then Eddie stops, putting the boat into neutral.
But my joy will have to wait, boy. I got biz to talk. See, you got something I getting paid to take. You just better hope it didn't go down with the ship.
What are you looking for?
Same thing Navarro wants.
You're working with Navarro now?
What you're into, brah? It's attracted bigger fish, so do you give me what I want, or do I turn the girl into sashimi?
Nate looks at Elena. Elena looks at Nate. She can't believe it's taken him a moment to decide.
You gotta be kidding me.
There is option 3.
No, there ain't.
Sure there is. Option 3 is you get your head taken off by a seaplane.
Eddie cracks up again, laughing his head off. Until he catches something out of the corner of his eye. He spins to see a seaplane gliding in for a landing, coming right for him. Eddie screams. Boom! The seaplane smashes right on top of Eddie's boat, breaking it apart. Only then do its engines come on as it turns around and comes for Nate and Elena.
What the hell was that?
Huh? That was Sully to a T.
The seaplane pulls up next to him, and moments later, the hatch on the side opens, revealing Victor Sully Sullivan, late 50s, chopping on a cigar.
Can't leave you alone for 1 minute. Who's the little guy with the big gun?
Eddie.
Roger, really? You should have told me. I'd made a point to splatter him on my windshield. Oh, but where are my manners?
He extends a hand to Elena, helping her onto the plane.
Victor Sullivan, at your service. But my friends and lovers, they call me Sully.
Serious seaplane day, Elena smiles and slowly pulls her hand back from his.
Somebody's been ODing their Viagra.
Elena takes off her wetsuit. She doesn't seem to notice that her white t-shirt underneath is soaking wet. So they can't help but stare. Finally, they can't help but stare.
Sex
Finally,
is bullshit. Sex is bullshit.
but finally she notices, pulling her shirt
I'm
away.
sorry, I was completely naked earlier while you ogled me. I didn't hear a complaint then. Please continue, Travis.
Yes.
Now I'm in a white t-shirt contest.
Finally, she noted at Daytona Beach, Florida. She finally notices pulling her shirt away from her body, pissed.
Gentlemen wouldn't look.
Honey, dead men wouldn't look.
Keep talking like that and we'll test that theory.
Nate just smiles, though she's badass, as he heads with Sully up to the cockpit. Sully keeps his voice. Behind him, Elena tries to dry out her video camera.
Well, what do you got?
The Lost Journal of Sir Francis Drake.
He pulls out of his wetsuit.
And the old boy.
Just like I thought, he faked his death.
How much does the girl know?
Nate turns to see Elena standing right behind them, filming them as they speak.
I'd say she keeps herself pretty well informed.
Open sea day. The red and white seaplane takes off, flying over the smoldering wreckage into a pristine blue sky. Down among the footstem, something stirs. A hand appears on a floating drum, and he surfaces.
Number 1, Migo, I'm coming to you.
Colombian fishing village. Dusk. We approach a lonely dock at a lawyer fishing village. A single ship is moored there. Main Captain Dusk. Journal. Point of view. POV. All three stare into the camera in various states of excitement.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Second, okay? This is a huge moment.
Give it to me, I'll do it. He always gets like a kid at Christmas morning.
I got it. Just wanted to give this a little bit of reverence, is all.
Nate opens the journal. They squint down at it, having trouble.
Well, we know one thing about Drake. He has horrible penmanship.
January 1597. The Queen has grown impatient. As that snake Alvarado continued to slip through my grasp to find retreat on Isla Oculta, until he made one mistake. He sent a copy of his map to Spain, and on the 24th of December we rammed a fast cutter and found the copy on board. Our goal is verified. What we race for is nothing less than the greatest treasure of the New World, and nothing more than the making or undoing of an empire.
Nate turns the page. He and Sully, rear back at once, as thought they'd seen a ghost.
Slap my ass and call me Rossi.
Reverse angle, the map. A map of rivers, jungles, and coastline, and its center, a small gold mark lamped.
Omagua!
Amagua. Thank you, voice. Omagua. Magua.
Hot damn. I knew you were onto something. Omagua?
I was onto something? You said playing solitaire was more productive than hunting down Sir Francis.
That was for your own good. And how the hell was I supposed to know you would lead to Omagua?
I'm sorry. What exactly is Omagua?
Nate and Sully smile at each other.
It's a lost goddamn city of gold.
Wait. Are you talking about El Dorado?
El Dorado, Cibolia, Manoia, Amagua, they're all just different names for the same myth.
See, the conquistadors, gold-hungry bastards as they were like kids at a candy store when it came to the Americas. See, all the tribes revered gold. They prayed over it, they chanted over it, they sacrificed for it. Hell, the chieftains even painted themselves with it. So the Spanish started taking their gold.
And butchering the tribes. But the legendary Omagua, nobody ever found it.
So, a city of gold. You actually believe in something that ridiculous?
I don't need to. Sir Francis did.
Sully gives Nate a very weird smile.
Why? Whatever Amagua is, if Sir Francis called it the treasure of a lifetime, it's got to be the biggest cache of gold in history.
Silence.
I need to sit down.
I need a drink.
We need the Vignale Boys choir singing the Hallelujah chorus, but we'll have to do with whatever the Dogmaster's selling.
Nate heads out of the cabin until Sully grabs his arm.
I wouldn't. We're in Colombia.
Nate backs away from the dock.
So, what does that mean?
Nothing. Just a misunderstanding with a Colombian colonel.
Have you met anyone who hasn't wanted to kill you?
Let's just say I don't leave people indifferent.
No. I don't suppose you do.
Smile creeps on their faces. Sully notices the attraction. Embarrassed, Elena lets out a small laugh.
I'll go get the drinks. Oh, wait, I already have it.
Exterior, Dockmaster's shed, dusk. Elena holds a bottle of tequila, hell yeah, in one hand, her other on her cell phone.
Carl! God damn it, Carl! Stop with the boat already! Okay, let them fire me. It's just a crappy cable show! You fucking kidding me? I've got a story that will put us on prime time.
Main cabin.
One F-bomb. One more and we go to an R rating.
I'm okay with that. It should be R rating. Fucker.
Main cabin, intercut, one
Fuckity
hand.
fuck.
Fuckity fuck.
One hand, 2 glasses of scotch. Sully puts on in front of Nate, still staring at the journal. Nate takes a swig, surprised by what he's drinking.
Scotch? Sully, we only drink scotch when...
A dying realization. Sully nods grimly.
Shot to steady the surgeon's hand.
No, not gonna happen.
Gotta be done. You know it, I know it.
She and I have a deal.
Oh, why didn't you tell me? A deal? Wow. I'm sure this changes things.
Don't. Not this time.
You sweet on her?
No.
You better?
No!
Then what's the problem, Nate?
She's... different. You should have seen her fighting, Eddie. The girl's got skills. I really don't think she's a liability.
Not a liability. A reporter tagging along for the most secret antiquities expedition in human history? Wake up, Nate. This is not your little family tree scrapbook project anymore. We've busted our humps on unique letter openers and pinky rings for too long. This is Amagua, Bizarro, Raleigh, Orlana, Drake. The greatest explorers in history have spent their lives trying to get as close as we are now.
Sully refreshes Nate's glass.
She deserves better.
She does. She deserves our absence from her life.
This one's different.
So was the broad in Jakarta. And that little sweet thing in Lagos. And I'm not even going to mention Chloe. I'm just saying we both have a soft spot, buddy, but we both know the truth as well.
Enlighten me.
Love fade, but golds shine on.
We're the bad guys, Sully.
There are no bad guys, Nate. No man is his own villain.
Nate downs one more drink.
I am today.
Doc, intercut. Elena waves to Nate, deep in her conversation. She doesn't notice Nate throwing off the bow line attaching boat to Doc.
No, look, I don't trust him, which is why we've got to move fast. You've got to find me a fact checker, a good one.
Elena turns the wrong way as Sully guns the engine. Elena spins in time to see the boat speeding away. She races down the dock, eyes locked on Nate's sad face, his eyes offering an apology.
You son of a bitch, you better run! Carl? Small wrinkle.
Interior, main cabin, late night. Sitting at the map table, Nate pores over the Drake's journal by lantern light.
You know what's not in there, don't you?
Sully comes walking in from the helm.
What?
What you're looking for, it can't be.
I'm reading Drake's intel on Amaga. I haven't thought about it, the other thing, in years.
Uh-huh.
Listen to this. I stand convinced there is more to Omagua than its gold. A darker secret. A secret that may tell us how an empire of 2 million could be wiped from the map in the blink of an eye. Is he talking about the Incas?
I don't care if he's talking about the rapture. We got a problem.
Sully turns the journal to the map labeled Magua.
I've triple checked the map on half the globe. There is no spot on this green earth that matches that map.
Bring me the scotch.
I mean, I sympathize, but maybe we should try and figure it out before we get plastered.
Nate ignores Sully and fetches the bottle himself. He bends the journal back on itself so only the map page rests on the table. And then he pours the scotch out over the map. Then rivers disappear and the other lines and words materialize like magic, creating a whole new map.
I don't believe it.
Call the technique a rum map, but I figured any alcohol would do. Let's crank the engine. Looks like we're going to Peru.
Exterior batting cage night. ECU side angle of the red square on a white background. Blam! A flashball slams into the center of it. It's a force knocking a target back a foot before the chain link faces detached sways back. We pull back to reveal Eddie, Raya, and one of his pirates up against the fence. Their mouths gagged. Two mercenaries pin their arms the other side of the fence. Then they squint, staring into the harsh spotlight, unable to see where the pitches are coming from.
In this part of the world, there are only a few things of great value. Drugs, of course. Oil, if you can find any, antiquities, and human talent.
Foop! Another fastball pounds the target between them.
A boy from a village nearby was graced with just such a talent. He could throw a baseball at 95 miles an hour. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball travels from the mound to the catcher's glove in less than 4/10 of a second. It can cause as much soft tissue trauma as a .38 caliber bullet.
Boom! The fastball catches Eddie dead in the chest. Eddie screams into his gag, his eyes wide in shock and pain. Flop! Another fastball catches the other pirate in the solar plexus. Oh! Ow! He screams as well, grasping for air. Oh! That hurts.
Yep, sure did, Travis. He once earned a multi-million-dollar contract I negotiated on his behalf, and yet his value to me is fading. He is what we in the banking world call a depreciating asset. The ravages of time against the brilliance of talent, time will always win in the end.
Flop! This time the baseball smashes into the fence just inches from Eddie's head. He stares terrified into the bright spotlights, thinking he's about to die. The spotlight goes out, revealing a mountaintop luxury villa complete with infinity pool, tennis courts, etc. And Eddie's eyes adjust. Gabriel Roman steps out of the darkness in a very expensive Italian suit, probably Armani. He's a man of bearing and sophistication with the eyes of a shark. Next to him stands Arak Navarro, looking uncomfortable himself. Behind him stands a row of heavily armed multinational mercenaries, and atop the pitcher's mounted Colombian pitcher, his eyes steely and focused, but he is sweating. He holds another ball in his hand, twirling it, ready to throw.
When an asset depreciates enough, it can sometimes cost more than it's worth. It is then called a toxic asset, an asset in need of liquidation. What kind of asset are you, Eddie?
He nods to his mercs, and they remove Eddie's gag, but they keep his arms trapped.
Good, strong. Give me another chance, Mr. Roman, and I'll prove it to you.
Haven't we seen enough proof already? 15 of you went after the Drake diary, and one man beat you.
Drake ain't no average man, and the girl was there too, Mr. Roman. We done a lot of business together. How many ships I steal for you? Been with you longer than Navarro.
Roman nods the pitcher. He hurdles another fastball that catches Eddie in the chest. Snap! We hear the ribs break. Eddie coughs. Oh, blood from his mouth. Oh, God.
Loyalty is only valuable when paired with competence. A dog might be a recent hire, but his archaeological knowledge is very much in need.
Roman reaches down a lone crate in front of Navarro. From it, he pulls out a vase.
Ooh, almost pulled out my computer, but we're just going to pull out my vodka. Mr. Navarro, what can you tell me about this item? It's a Sumerian bathing vessel for Jen Sanet. Very good. Now, what is it worth? I'll even give you a hint. In 2002, it was priceless.
Navarro doesn't immediately answer. Roman spins around, a bat in his hand. With a vicious swing, he shatters the vase in 1,000 pieces.
Oh, Jesus. Why did a fly just fly into my nose? Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry. It's worthless. Because in 2003, looters raided the Iraqi National Museum, removing 100,000 antiquities. And over the last 7 years, these items have been flooding into the markets, turning priceless collections into curio shops. My priceless collections.
Roman swings the bat angrily through the air, coming within inches of Navarro's head.
I'm a banker, gentlemen. A banker for dangerous people who cannot use any normal bank. These items are my capital, and my capital is draining. But Amagua can change that.
Roman nods to the pitcher.
Failure in this task will incur the heaviest of penalties.
The pitcher hesitates for just a moment, then grits his teeth and hurdles a fastball into the batter's box. The pitch goes wide and slams in the temple of one of Roman's merces. The mirth drops like a stone, eyes open dead. Roman pulls out a pistol and shoots the pitcher dead. He shoots Navarro darkly. Yeah, and shoots it, showing his displeasure.
He's gotten a little wild.
Exterior boat day. Sully and Nate look out from the deck of their boat. Sully is crestfallen.
I don't suppose it's possible there's another map under that rum map.
No such luck. Magua's right over there.
Reverse angle. We see what they're gapping at. The huge and cosmopolitan city of Lima, Peru. Beautiful area.
Well, somehow I thought it'd be shinier.
It might still be there, buried under the city somewhere.
Great. So you tell me the greatest treasure known to man is buried under a Starbucks somewhere?
Oh, it's worse than that. We're going to have to break into Frank's museum. Again.
Exterior Museo Nacional de... help me out here. What the hell?
Arqueológica de Historia.
Arqueología y Historia. Yeah, I'm
Museo
sorry.
Nacional de Arqueología y Historia. Now continue.
Yes, an imposing neoclassic edifice. Nate and Sully sneak around the back, finding a rear fire door. Nate rummages through his backpack, while Sully looks up at the tiny transom window over the door, cracked a hair.
So what's the plan? Lose 150 pounds and then slip through the window?
I was thinking we pull a bloodhound game.
Sully confused for a moment, and Nate pulls out a Zippo lighter and a heavy-duty tape measure. Then he gets it.
Right. We don't need no water.
Museum hallway night. Through the transom windows snakes the tape measure with the lit Zippo as it ends. It moves forward 5 feet until it reaches a fire sprinkler. Pop, a fire alarm blares. Wee woo, wee woo, and as the sprinkler erupts, Ethio Musa Nacional de Night. Click. The fire door unlocks, pops open a crack. Sully holds it open as Nate drops on the transom. Museum Historical Archives Night. Ancient tombs line the walls of museum's archival book collection. Nate's flashlight in hand scans through the titles and the gubernative Sully returns.
The Bomeros packed up their hoses and left. Time to grab some papers and let's call it a night.
It has to be correspondence from 1597 or it's useless. Maybe if you could read a lick of Spanish, you'd give me a hand.
Maybe I can help.
Nate and Sully turn to see a tall, red-headed, mature woman in a spotless white business suit. Meet Francisca Torres, or more commonly, Frank. She's flanked by two huge guys.
Frank, how long's it been?
The last thing Nate sees is a massive fist. Interior museum storage room night. Nate's POV. Nate's vision clears to find his head immobilized by a wooden board. Frank stares down at Nate upside down. Ooh, this is epic.
I can't believe you came back, Concha.
What's the problem?
Turns out Frank's a little upset.
Nate turns and sees Sully on his knees, guns to his head.
Hidden. Why, Frank? Why?
I do so love a man with a sense of humor. It's a pity you had to cheat me. That art pottery you sold the museum was nothing but forgery.
So? I told you the first time I walked in here, half your collection are fakes.
Then you went and sold the real vase to a private collector, and it seems you neglected to forward me my cut, pendejo.
Frank backs away and Nate can see what his head is trapped under. It is an antique guillotine.
How about I take my cut now?
She fingers the rope that releases the guillotine blade.
You wouldn't. Frank.
Oh, you may be a pretty boy, Nate, but I absolutely would. In fact, the only thing stopping me is curiosity. Why would you willingly come back here? It's gotta be something big.
It's just a little research project.
Frank tugs on the rope. Nate sees the latch above move.
Big research project. It's our way to pay you back. Your cut on the old job would have been 10,000.
One of the huge guys beside Sully chimes in.
$78,500 and $600. Oh shoot! I just added in 100 because apparently I am portraying rent right now, counting interest.
You might have a problem with your math.
Better a math problem than a physics problem. Gravity is not your friend.
She tugs on the rope again, and the latch moves ever closer to releasing the blade.
You're lying on the Bloody Maria. In her day, she killed more men than cancer.
True that. Another tug. The blade just barely catches the latch.
Fine. 78 grand, no problem.
What is it that is worth so much?
Kill me and you'll never find out.
Frank smiles and calls the bluff. She yanks hard on the rope. The guillotine blade falls right for Nate's neck.
Oh, Magua!
Ching! The blade passes harmlessly through Nate's neck, leaving him untouched. Frank and her men laugh uproariously. Nate is shaking as Frank unlocks the wooden stock around his neck. He bolts upright, checking his neck to be sure it is in one piece.
Like? We've got a history of magic exhibition next week. You should come by. Magua, it's really true. I'm sorry I didn't believe you.
Well, Elena?
No problem. If I had to deal with people like him, I'd cultivate a healthy distrust myself.
Nate and Sully turn to see Elena enter the room.
No.
She smiles and then punches Nate square in the face.
We had a deal with you, son of a bitch. You used me.
Borrowed you.
I trusted you.
Trusted me. You don't even know me.
Tis the problem, darling, is not that we don't know you, it's that we do. And yet we look in those blue eyes and want to believe in you anyway. He's quite addictive, isn't he? I would have tracked him down if I could.
What the hell did you find us? How the hell did you find us anyway?
Elena pulls her new cell phone from her pocket. She presses a dial. Dial. Ringtone of Lady Gaga's Poker Face echoes. Nate looks around, then realizes the sound is coming from his jacket. He pulls out Elena's iPhone.
Kidding me.
Find two-timing scumbags? There's an app for that.
Now that our happy reunion has occurred, let us begin returning my $156,000.
You're what?
78 for the last deal. 78 for this one.
Right. Ugh. That math's a killer.
Interior Museum Historical Archives night. Frank unlocks a caged room of ancient documents and leads Nate, Sully, and Elena inside.
Everything I've collected about Amagua is in this room, but there's not a lot to see. The Incas were too scared of Amagua to speak about his temple.
Him? I thought Amagua was a place.
Oh no, Amagua was their god of death.
Frank opens an ancient illuminated text, revealing with a drawing of Amagua, a terrifying-looking demon/god with red eyes and tusk-like fangs. Scary.
They feared him above all other gods, which is why they filled his temple with gold offerings. They protected its location out of absolute terror. No one dared to even lay eyes on Margua's gold. Do you know the story of Atahualpa?
The last king of the Incas?
Everyone looks at Elena surprised.
Hello? Reporter. Remember?
Frank turns the page to a drawing of a native king imprisoned.
The story is called The Ransom Room. Conquistador Pizarro captured Atahualpa, but he gave the king one chance to live. If he could fill his jail cell with gold, Pizarro would release him. It was a trick. Pizarro knew he had raided nearly all the Incan treasures. Atahualpa could never amass enough gold.
Unless he knew where Amagua was.
The monk who drew these claimed Atahualpa ordered his brother to fetch a forbidden stash of gold, the gold of Amagua, gold now cursed by the god of death himself.
She turns the page, and at the top, a Spanish conquistador strangles Atahualpa. How do you say it?
Atahualpa.
Atahualpa. Holiday Hube Wada.
Atahualpa.
Atahualpa. Holiday Hube Wada.
Stay with me, Charles. Atahualpa.
Lapa. There you go. Beneath scenes of mayhem and death, the deaths of the Incas. Thank you, sir.
No one knows what happened after that. We know the gold Atahualpa promise never reached his cell. We know that a nation of millions suddenly died and disappeared without a trace.
Frank turns another page, wild-eyed. Bloody Incas frenzy and kill each other.
Yeah. And some nights you can still hear the crisis of Atahualpa.
That's what I like about you, Sully. Your greed makes you impervious to fear.
And with that, Frank leaves them to it. They spread out, gathering papers and piling them on the table in the center of the room. Later, ECU, we move over a landscape of ancient books and papers, maps, ledgers, deeds, letters, ancient curbside writing in Spanish language, all laid out on the floor. We move up over Sally's dead asleep, drooling on a sack of papers. We find Elena, similarly asleep in a corner. And we end on Nate, red-eyed, frustrated, flipping through the assorted letters. His eyes fall upon Elena, her head tilted uncomfortably against her shoulder. Against her shoulder. Nate takes off his jacket and places it between her head and shoulder, careful not to wake her up. Nate stares at her face, peaceful in slumber. Then Nate turns back to the letters, Elena's eyes open, watching him. Then Nate catches something. He bolts upright. He stares closely to the paper in his hands.
Something?
It's a letter from the governor to Juan Guerrero, a wealthy landowner, basically responding to a domestic complaint. Guerrero was protesting a sea captain and his men digging all hours of the day and night.
That's it? That's all?
The governor apologizes for the admiral's behavior. Admiral, not captain. In 1597, there were maybe 20 admirals in the Spanish fleet. But in Peru?
That's got to be the one Trig was chasing. Alvarado. Where was he digging?
It doesn't say. All it says is the governor promises him the land in question will never again be disturbed. It will become the quietest district in the city. A church, maybe?
I lived next to church growing up. Those bells would be anything but quiet. No, it would have to be someplace where people rarely go. No roads, buildings, people, something quiet.
Nate and Elena get it.
As the
As
grave.
the grave.
They both grin from ear to ear. Sully wakes to see them staring at each other excitedly. He pulls his hat down over his eyes and tries to go back to sleep. As here in Metro General Cemetery dusk soaring overhead, we see the sprawling cemetery as countless mausoleums of every shape and size. We move up and down in a couple, taking a stroll through the gorgeous Gothic cemetery. It turns out to be Elena and Sully. Two police officers approach. Sully grabs his hand and nuzzles her neck. Elena tries to pull away, but Sully goes too good a grip.
Okay, so let me go if you value your hand.
Sorry, sweetheart, but we've got to sell the grieving couple angle. We don't want to draw attention.
Sorry. You and me. Couple? I'm sorry. Who would buy that?
Yeah, an older man, a younger woman in South America. It's really going to stick out like a sore thumb.
You're disgusting. You know, every now and then I see a glimmer of humanity out of that Nate, and then he starts acting like you again.
You're damn right. That's why he's still alive. And if you think you're the first girl who saw Nate as her personal fixer-upper...
Wait a minute. All I care about is my story. That's all.
Horseshit. You listen for a change. Nate is like a son to me. So you stop messing with his head. You stop it now, or you're gonna kill him.
So he looks around, make sure Nate isn't near.
We're in the middle of a Sri Lankan civil war. The Tamil Tigers are bombing the hell out of Jantha. You're racing to the port of Sullen Tuk Tuk, carrying these 8 Hindu idols, supporting more bling than Liberace. Then when we clip a dog, a damn mangy street dog, already half dead. The mortars are dropping everywhere. Government troops are closing off the streets. I tell Nate we gotta go, but the damn son of a bitch won't. Not until he gets that damn dog to a hospital.
And that's a bad thing.
They found the idols. They arrested him. And then they shot the dog. And he spent 8 months in a Sri Lankan prison before I managed to bribe him out. Do you have any idea what it's like in a Sri Lankan prison?
But he did the right thing.
This is why you gotta shut up. In your world, you got mommy and daddy. You got money, education, you got a safety net. You can do the right thing and make yourself feel as good as you want. But for guys like Nate and me, most times the right thing gets you killed.
Police officers disappear far down the walk.
Okay. The local gear are clear. Let's get this party started.
So he pulls out a remote control and thumbs a switch. A fireworks sound goes off in the far side of the cemetery. Nate lays wreath of flowers against the wall of a black marble tomb and ducks around the corner. Boom! The wreath explodes, knocking a stone slab aside. The noise as well was covered by fireworks. Nate looks around and then slips in. A moment later, Sully and Lena stroll by and slip in as well. Interior crypt tonight, the walls are lined with coffins, with this family crypt sealed into the thick marble walls. In the center of the room, on raised dais, is the stone coffin of the partridge of the family.
Before we go, violated remains. Are we sure this is the place?
Nate points at the arch of the entrance. Elena can clearly read the word Guerrero accompanied by the family crest.
Remember the landowner who wrote the complaint? The governor promised him the best family tomb in the place.
We've got something here. There's some kind of bar mechanism under the stones.
Sully kneels down the loose cobblestone floor. Nate checks the other side.
It's here too.
What does it mean?
The floor was built to move somehow. We just have to find the release.
All eyes turn to the coffin in the center. Nate moves over to the heavy lid.
Well, wait. Is it safe? I mean, couldn't the Spaniards have built a trap or something to, like, keep people out?
Sully and Nate exchange a glance and laugh.
Adorable.
That's mostly a movie thing, Elena.
Nate crouches down and pushes the stone lid off the coffin. The lid is attached to a chain mechanism that spins, and suddenly the entire floor of the chamber collapses. The coffin, the stone, and the floor. Nate, Sully, and Elena fall through the cracks, through the eyes trembling through the dark. Nate lashes out a hand and grabs Elena's wrist. Suddenly, grabs a handhold on the side, which he can now become a pit, but he misses, grabbing Nate's overstretched hand. Nate grabs a handhold with Elena in his other hand. He doesn't have the strength to hold. They tumble again as he tries to hold. This time the rock crumbles in his grasp. They fall again one last time. He digs his hand into a handhold, and this time it holds just then. Elena screams. Nate turns to look at her and discovers that Elena dangles less than 3 feet above a forest razor sharp wooden spikes. If they fell just 1 second more, they're dead. They'd be dead.
A movie thing? A movie thing!
I did say mostly.
Nate swings her over the edge and where no spikes stand and drops her hand. She lands at the foot of the pit, and at the moment of the passageway, she finds a bin filled with torches. Nate joins her. Up above, Sully still struggles.
What I gotta do to get some help around here? Take a bullet? Don't worry about me. I'm just beachy.
Still, Sully carefully climbs down the pit wall.
Brumbiest expedition in history.
The chamber of Amagua, night, carrying torches, and the three look in awe at the sight before them. They are in a massive arched Suburban temple. Each wall is carved with more of the bas-relief sculptures of demons. Each carving seems to be more disturbing than the last.
What do they say?
You got me.
What do you mean you got me?
Did I spend years studying Mesoamerican archaeology? No. I know the money empires, Incan, Mayan, Aztec, and this writing is older than all of them. Beyond that, I would have needed to go to college.
Well, why didn't you?
Because some old fart told me it was a waste of time.
That's always been your problem. You listen to me too much.
If you two ladies are done, I think I found something over here.
Lena shines light on what she found. Stone doors, 30 feet high. The doors are covered in ornate carvings. The carvings depict a massive golden god propped atop a dais, worshippers laying on its feet.
Get that dais. Magua's a statue.
One lousy statue? We went through all of this.
Sully, look at the scale.
Sure enough, the size of the golden god compared to the worshippers is truly awesome.
Oh, that thing's got to be
80 tons minimum?
Sully points out a figure, clothed in a finery, standing before the others at the base of the great statue.
That must be the high priest. He's the only one not bowing to Ogma.
Not bowing. They're dying.
Sure enough, the drawings seem to show a progression of death. 100 dead figures lying beneath Omagua. Well, this is epic.
Creepy. Why would someone go to all this trouble if there wasn't something to this curse story?
You don't get it. Curses, warnings, they're all the best friends we've ever had. They keep the treasure buried. Ain't no curse because it isn't a blessing to us.
Sully grabs the seam of the door, and Nate Sully pulls with all their might. Slowly, the huge door is open. Elena extends her torch. They look inside, excitement with their eyes. The chamber is empty. Their guns full of disappointment, disillusion. Sully kicks a rock to his feet.
Damn it!
But as the rock skitters away, it clanks against something metal. Nate turns his attention that way and discovers a rusty Spanish helmet.
Conquistadors.
I suppose it's too much to hope they left a note saying where they took the thing.
Nate spots something nearby. It's an anchor.
Actually, they may have done better than that.
Nate lifts his torch higher, revealing an anchor is still connected to its chain, which leaps up to a Spanish galleon lodged 100 feet up in the wall.
Now that's something you don't see every day. What do you make of it?
I don't know. See that standing water? I think this used to be a cave system. Probably led right out to the sea.
And a cave-in straight to the ship here?
Nate knows the ship's name is El Marquez. Marquez.
Where do I know that name from? We've got to find the captain's quarters.
Nate climbs up the anchor chain as fast as he can. In Spanish galleon gun deck night, Nate pulls himself into the ship. Elena arrives right behind him, leaping the deck, which creaks under the collective weight.
You do know the entire ship could collapse any second. I should be checking this out alone.
Elena pulls out her trusty camcorder from her backpack.
We have a deal. Anything and everything. So get a move on.
Nate gets to his feet, pulling out his torch and relaying it. Once aflame, they look around what was a gun deck that cannons up against the port wall along with stacks of waterproof kegs.
Guesses those waterproof kegs are filled with gunpowder. So let's keep a healthy distance, okay?
You're the boss.
That's right.
Nate turns and heads for the stairs leading up the quarter deck. With his foot chases through a rotten board, he plummets into the hold below. Interior the whole night, smack. Nate lands a pile of something hard in the darkness, and the torch lying several feet away. Elena stares down through the hole, filming it all.
Really? You gotta film this.
Hey, Nate, you might not want to look down.
He grabs a torch and he's lying on a huge pile of human bones. He leaps away.
Jesus!
Suddenly, Nate hears another strange noise. Something moves beneath the bones.
What's going on down there?
He pulls out his gun and something rises underneath the bones.
A rat?
Huge rat. There is no ordinary rat. It's the size of a pit bull with massive razor-sharp teeth and blood and red eyes. Something out of Princess Bride. The rat leaves for Nate, but he fires first, riddling the creature with bullets. It falls dead when suddenly the bones shift and shudder. This hold is swarming with more rats, some of them with visible bones beneath decayed flesh. They come for Nate.
Get a rope down here, now!
Intercut Nate. Elena searches for a coil of rope. Nate shoves over a crate and then another, trying to get higher ground, and the rats come screaming out of the bones. They're freshenized or attacking each other in order to get to the fresh meat. He fires down at them. Elena checks in her rope and tries tying it off to a rope cleat. Nearby, the cleat just tears right out of the rotted floor.
Elena!
Elena spots a nearby mast and rushes towards it.
Any second now.
But Nate doesn't have time to spare. The swarming rats force him to the highest corner of the top crate, even as they chew apart the lower one with the powerful jaws. The lower crate is practically toothpicks, and Nate's perch widely sways above the frenzy of fur and teeth. But just as Nate is about to fall, a rope drops down right in front of him. Nate grabs hold of swinging as the rats leap up toward him, nipping his heels. Nate starts climbing the rope, but so do the rats. It's a race to the top, and Nate barely manages to win. He pulls himself and shoots the rope, causing the rats to plunge back down into the darkness.
Curse, no curse. There's something very, very wrong here.
Nate can only shudder and climb to the quarter deck. Here, Captain Quarter's night. Elena and Nate enter the room, untouched in 400 years, and the captain says Nate discovers the mother load maps and charts. It's been a long week for me. Elena films over his shoulder as he examines them.
What are we looking for?
Do you remember when I read you that section from Sir Francis's diary? When he began searching for the map of Amagua, the one ship he could never capture was the Marquez. That's because his captain, Alvarado, had a hidden base he always escaped to, an island called
Isla Oculta.
Nate stops, flipping through the maps, his finger stopping on a single point in the middle of the southern Pacific Ocean, Isla Oculta.
I'll bet once Alvarado knew Drake was on his tail, that's when they took Amagua.
Elena grins behind her camera. Nate's radio crackles.
What's going on up there?
We found it, Sully. Amagua was taken to an island called Isla Oculta. We've got a map to find it. Roam free.
Not exactly. You better step outside.
Interior gun deck night. Nate and Elena look down the cavern below. Nate's POV. Sully's on his knees, hands on his head. Navarro stands over him, gun to Sully's head, surrounding him as nearly a dozen Metzio thugs.
Shit.
Navarro has the radio on his free hand.
This role will now also be played by Anne.
This is gonna be Rudy.
Uh-oh, Nate.
No, not Navarro. He's Roman.
Ah.
Uh-oh, Nate. Looks like the natives are restless. You better come out before somebody gets hurt.
Nate looks around looking for anything that will give him an edge.
You know, this is my people's temple, don't you, Nate? You know how much it would pay me to spill Sully's blood here. Should I count through 5? Nate!
Finally, Nate's gaze falls on the far side of the gun deck. He sees sealed barrels, then back at his torch. Interior cabin of Magua night. Nate and Elena drop down from the anchor chain and are immediately surrounded by Navarro's thugs.
Search him. He should have a map on him showing the way to Isla Oculta.
The thugs put down Nate, retrieving the map and his guns. The thug hands the map over to Navarro.
I'll take that.
From out of the darkness walks Gabriel Roman, wearing another fine Italian suit, probably Armani, and a grin as big as Amagua.
Oh, shit.
Hello, Nathan.
Another one of your friends?
Roman gives Lena a hint of a bow.
Gabriel Roman. A distinct pleasure.
Roman doesn't have friends, just clients whose money he launders with black market antiquities. Great guys like terrorists and drug dealers.
And the odd museum curator.
Frank comes up behind Roma, smiling.
Don't look so sad, dear boy. One day, all of our bad deeds will catch up with us. It's just that today is your day. I don't envy your friends, Nate. Frank was all too eager to tell me exactly where to find you, and she's not the only one to be had for a price. Isn't that right, Sully?
The thugs suddenly release Sully, who avoids Nate's eye.
Sully? What did you do?
It's complicated, kid.
Bastard.
Sully doesn't respond to Elena, instead turning to Roma.
Hey, what about our deal?
When I had Omagua, you get your reward. But as for Mr. Drake, I have another deal with Atok that requires payment in full.
Navarro smiles and advances to point-blank range.
Looks like you've robbed the wrong grave today, hombre. This is my heritage. If anybody's going to steal it, you should have known it's going to be me.
Wait, this wasn't a part of the deal!
Funny thing about your deal, Sully. I don't think Drake's name ever came up in negotiations.
Roman nods to Navarro. Suddenly, Sully bolts off his knees. Navarro turns and fires. Catches Sully right in the heart. Boom! Sully goes down and stays down.
No!
Elena's stunned, terrified. Roman just finds it funny.
What an odd time to turn heroic. Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. Talk.
Suddenly, Roman spots a flash of light up in the galleon.
What is that?
Gun deck intercut. Nate left his torch within a couple of feet of the sealed barrels, one of which he cracked open, spilling gunpowder, which the torch's spreading flames he only just lit. Nate tackles Lane into the ground. Seconds later, an inferno of explosion rocks the temple area. The entire galleon is reduced to splinters everywhere. Power keg goes off, raining fiery debris everywhere. On Navarro's POV, ears ringing, a blinding field of white that slowly fades as our adjust to our darkness. Several Mezzo thugs are on fire, rolling around, trying to put themselves out. Frank is unconscious. Roman is shaken and dazed. Sully's still dead, but Nate and Elena, they're gone. Navarro looks around, staring at a huge dying rat in front of him. He smiles secretly to himself, then helps Roman up.
I'll carve him to pieces.
A fierce rumor shows off Navarro's helping hand.
Enough! The amateur hour is over. Drake got away. See to it.
An exterior cemetery night. 6 heavily armed stand at the entrance to the mausoleum in front of the several black racing motorcycles. They make Navarro's studs look like marshmallows. Their leader pulls out his radio.
No problem.
The merch reaches for his gun, only to find it missing from his holster. He turns to see Nate smiling beside him. Smacky gets a gun butt to the head. The other mercenaries make the wrong choice and draw. Nate fires at point blank range, taking down 4 of them just before they can shoot. But the 5th is behind him and has him dead in his sights. Blam, the 5th merc looks surprised as he falls into the ground dead. Behind him stands Elena, smoking gun in her hand. She looks surprised herself.
You okay?
I don't know. I think so.
Gunshots ring out. Nate looks both ways down in the narrow alley of the cemetery. More mercs race their way.
Let's go.
Nate hopes one of the racing bikes and guns the engine. He spikes down, doing donuts, throwing a cloud of dirt in every direction. When the dust clears, the mercs have reached each other, but Nate and Elena are gone. One of the mercs catches a glimpse of them down a narrow alley.
Note.
Exterior motorcycle chase night. The Mercedes mercs come down on the woodwork as Nate races down narrow alleys. Nate ducks the bike on a colonnade of statues as a group opens fire. Bullets chew up the statues as Nate and Elena fly past. More mercs race to the far end of the colonnade, only to get smacked in the face by an airborne bike. But Nate flies right to the stone crypt wall. Nate hits the brakes, popping the bike on its wheel. Its back wheels spin and lands on the side of a mausoleum, and Nate's racing off in the other direction. That's when the other bike appears. The merc driving it has a black motorcycle leathers on it and there's some machine gun strapped to his handbars. Auto fire erupts, chewing up the ground around Nate and Elena. Nate looks left and right, nowhere to escape, and up ahead, steps leading to an ornate Gothic tomb.
Grab me.
What?
Grab me tighter than you've ever grabbed anything.
Elena squeezes him so hard, She surprises him, almost knocking the wind out of him. He guns the engine, speeding up, heading right for the Gothic tomb. More auto fire. A few shots hit the rear fender. Nate hits the steps at this speed, and the steps become a ramp. The bike gets massive air and lands atop the tomb. The other cyclist skids to a halt, not crazy enough to follow.
I can't believe it. Now what?
Now what?
Nate didn't think that far. The cyclist unstraps his machine gun. Elena looks at the Zango statue next to her. She kicks it and falls over and taking the cyclist, but still immersed close to the right and the left. Nate guns the engine. He leaps the bike off the roof and onto the other, picking up the speed in the angled roof, then leaping on the other side of the tomb. He stays above the narrow alleys and the cemetery as the Murphs chase below.
Nate!
Nate looks ahead. They're at the edge of the cemetery. A tall stone wall looms. Nate looks for any way to go. And he sees the arch, a tall archway that holds the entrance gate to the north end of the cemetery. He picks up the speed and jumps for it. The bike lands at 45 degrees angle, rear wheels spin on the smooth marble arch. Is it going to fall? I don't know, is it? It picks up traction and climbs the arch as its apex. Nate spots two black Range Rovers on the street just outside. A whole other team of Murphs aim their weapons right at them. No time to think. Nate picks up more speed, then opens fire, chewing up the arc, and their gunfire just trailing the bike but gaining. Nate flips the gearing right. The bike sails off the arch, and just as the gunfire catches up with him, the bike lands atop the Range Rovers. It skips over one, denting the roof, slides down the windshield of the second, and lands in the street. The Murphs around the corner of the side of the Range Rovers, but they go out there. Nate and Elena are already around the next corner. They're gone. Interior boat night. Nate packs up the boat, stowing away essentials. Elena sits at the table, a half-drunken bottle of scotch before her, most of which two of them clearly drank. Nate downs a shot of scotch, then pours himself another.
To Sully, my brother from another mother.
He downs the shot and pours one for Elena.
I can't drink to that. He betrayed you.
No, you just gotta know Sully is all. He just miscalculated the angle.
Elena can't believe what she's hearing.
Miscalculated the angle? Why am I surprised? Oh my god, like, you've probably spent most of your life rationalizing his lies.
So with your friends, you don't take the bad with the good.
Seems like with Sully, you just took the bad with the bad.
Nate pours himself another shot and downs it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, maybe because I don't know anything about you. I've had a glimpse in a duffel bag, and that's about it.
Nate slams down the shot glass.
What do you want to know? Huh? What do you want to hear? My sob story? Fine. My mother had delusions, grand-scale delusions. My father was a world-class con artist. He didn't leave a lot of room for honesty at the dinner table.
Nate reaches under the table, pulling out a cross. Pinned beneath for the observant is the same cross for the picture of the teenage Nate with Sully.
And you're a bad guy, Sully. I didn't know which way was up, and he set me straight. He was the only guy who ever gave a shit about me.
I'm sorry. I never knew Sully like you did, but you know his philosophy was wrong. You know I believe in good guys, Nate. Because I see people make hard choices every day.
There you go again.
You're making those same hard choices, Nate. That's why you risk your life to save mine. That's why you're not going to let Roman win.
That one stops Nate, at least for a moment.
Look at us. We got nothing. Roman's got resources. He's got the manpower. He's got the only damn map.
Bullshit.
You're drunk.
I am, but it's still bullshit.
Lena spins around her camera and flips open the view screen. She turns it to Nate. View screen, the camera follows as Nate flips through the maps on the Spanish galleon.
Remember when I read you that section from Sir Francis's diary? When he began searching for the map to Amagra, the one ship he could never capture was the Marquez. That's because his captain Alvarado had a hidden base he always escaped to, an island called
Isla Oculta.
Nate's eyes widen. He can't believe what he's seeing.
Holy shit.
View screen. There it is in sharp HD, a perfect video copy of a precious map to Isla Oculta. Nate and Elena, their eyes meet a moment of electricity passes between them. They move in for their first kiss. They're totally into it, caught up in the moment and each other. And just suddenly, Nate breaks it off.
Hey, I have to say something.
All you can do is ruin this moment.
Nate moves in for a kiss for a second time. Elena closes her eyes, but again, last second, Nate pulls back.
Sully's plane. It's the only chance we have to beat Roman to Isla Oculta.
Elena opens her eyes. Nate's already lost in her thought. She sighs and goes with it.
You can fly.
I was a naval aviator. I was born flying.
I mean, you aren't too drunk.
Elena drunkenly trips, stepping onto the dock, smacking her head as she does so. Interior scene plain day. Elena stirs awake in the passenger seat, staring out at the endless blue ocean peeking out beneath a blanket of clouds. She wipes the sleep from her eyes, stretching.
Oh, wow. How long was I out?
Just then, a massive bolt of turbulence throws the plane down, the engine surging. Only the seatbelts keep Nate and Elena in their seat. It scares Elena, who braces herself on the door frame. Then she notices Nate's sweating eyes darting to and fro.
Huh?
Elena looks around. Blue post-it notes are affixed everywhere. The one attached says yoke on the airspeed indicator, too fast and too slow on the attitude indicator. Keep the blue part up. Then she spots that Nate's reading a flight manual.
Oh my god, you don't know how to fly a plane!
Nate quickly closes the manual. Elaine's worried now.
Of course they do. Anyone can fly a plane.
Are you insane? No, they can't. There's some jobs you can bluff your way through, but pilot isn't one of them. Wait, you told me you were a naval aviator.
Mostly true.
How? How is that mostly true?
We're flying over the ocean, aren't we?
Another blast of turbulence setting the plane up. A loud alarm sounds. A red light on the instrument panel. Beep, beep.
What is that?
I'm working on it.
He flicks red light with his finger. No change. Another alarm. Beep, beep. Another red light. Beep, beep. Nate opens the manual again, flipping through its pages.
Great. I'm gonna die because Captain Ego thinks he can fly a plane halfway across the Atlantic.
Not helping.
It's my own fault. I knew you were reckless. Be responsible, and let's not leave out dangerous.
The alarms keep blaring. Wah, wah, wah. And the two argue back and forth.
Watch it. I seem to recall blood on your hands too, killer.
I seem to recall you shooting that guy in order to save your ass.
As if I haven't been saving yours every damn moment since we've met.
As if I need your help.
Well, you do right now because you don't know how to fly a plane.
Neither do you.
They are gonna die. Nate opens his mouth to respond, but nothing comes. Frustrated, he bangs his fist on the instrument panel, and suddenly the alarm goes silent. Beep. Boop. Nate gives Elena a smirk and turns away from him.
Very mature. What are we trying now? The silent treatment?
But we can see Nate's face, and he's not angry anymore. In fact, his eyes are wide with excitement.
We're here.
Through a break in the cloud cover, they spot a small island down below. Isla Oculta. A small but mountainous volcanic island covered in dense green jungles. My kind of place.
Hello, Isla Oculta.
Suddenly the plane is rocked by an explosion.
Shit!
Nate looks at his starboard wing just as half of his shears off. The starboard engine dies out.
Where the hell did that come from?
Exterior Faraday. Roman stands on the deck of a large freighter just off the island. Coast next to him, the Merc leader, lowering a smoking rocket launcher. They watch the burning plane fall from the sky.
Toast. Any other man, and I'd agree.
Interior seaplane. Nate fights the stick, trying to right the plane. Elena trains her camera on the burning engine.
Just if we have reached the mysterious island of Isla Oculta in search of Amagua, we have taken on hostile fire. A missile has destroyed one of our 2 engines and threatens to...
Will you please shut up?
He can't level up the plane. It's diving fast. And all he can do is pull off its spin.
Time to bail.
He reaches under Elena's seat and pulls out a parachute. Smart move. As he struggles to put the back on, he checks under his belt for his parachute. But there's nothing there. No parachute.
Oh boy.
Nate ties off the yoke, then helps Elena finish buckling her pack. He then pulls out towards the rear cargo door.
Go.
Nate opens the cargo door, the world racing past outside.
Wait, what about you? Where's your chute?
Do you trust me?
Does anyone see Temple of Doom in this part? Elena thinks about it in a second.
No, not really.
Good. That makes this easier.
Nate grabs her chute, releases the handle, and pulls it out. Her chute unfurls out the open door. And as the parachute fills, she yanked out of the plane. Nate looks behind the plane and sees her safely descending toward the island. Nate gets back behind the controls. Exterior freighter day. Roman sees the parachute descending on the island. He sees the plane trying to right itself.
Radio Raja. The chute is coming his way. I can handle it. No. You track the plane. Don't report back until you have proof the son of a bitch is dead.
Interior, exterior, plane day. The seaplane quickly loses altitude, dropping down toward the island's jungle floor. Nate pulls up hard on the stick, finding to keep the burning plane afloat.
Come on, you piece of junk.
At the last moment possible, the plane banks up and away. It platoons, brushing the top level of jungle canopy. Nate breathes a sigh of relief.
That was close.
When suddenly a rock cliff of the volcano comes into view, Nate's banks the plane right for it.
No.
Nate pulls on the yoke with all the strength. The plane begins to bank away from the mountains. Slam! A rock outcropping smashes right in the burning engine, knocking it clear off the wing. The plane sails on.
And she thought I couldn't fly a plane.
Nate sniffs the air. Something pungent. Excuse me. He looks back and sees the burning engine has lodged itself in the tail of the plane. The flames advance toward the cockpit.
Come on, what I gotta do for one lousy break?
He turns back to the windshield, only to see the jungle canopy rising beneath him. Crash! Blackout. Exterior jungle canopy day. Nate wakes up to find his body is crumbled in a ball shoved up against the cracked windshield of the plane and staring at the 50-foot drop to the jungle floor.
I knew I could land it.
Sniff, sniff. He looks above him. The burning engine is still perched at the tail, teetering like the sword of Damocles.
God damn it, Travis. This was your song in Rocky
Sword
Horror.
of Damocles, the song you didn't sing in Rocky Horror.
Oh, that's probably why. Oh, well. As I was saying,
easy, big fella.
It shifts, slipping toward him.
Easy, big fella.
Nate reaches for the seatbelt strap on the pilot's chair, tantalizing just beyond his reach, when suddenly windshield gives way, shatters completely. Nate falls ass first into the air. Nate falls as he drops completely helpless, just 10 feet from his doom. His body impacts a tangle of vines that absorb his fall. They stretch a few break, but enough to hold to suspend him just 10 feet up.
Whew.
Just then, the entire plane above shifts. The burning engine smashes through the rest of the windshield. A deadly fireball headed right for him. In a single motion, Nate unseats his knife and slices blindly at the vines around him. He curves all but the one around his leg and swings out of the way just before the fiery engine flies past him. Swinging upside down, held by the vine around his leg, Nate laughs, happy to be alive. Then he heads to hit the tree. He howls in pain,
Ow!
staring up at the heavens.
Really? 2 concussions in 2 minutes? You're telling me I really deserve this?
The vine holding his leg gives away and he falls headfirst to the ground.
Ah.
Smack.
Oh.
Nate sits up, dazed, head spinning. He looks at the sky.
Yeah, message received. Thanks.
Exterior jungle day. Nate sloshes his way through the thick jungle. The canopy of the jungle captures a sign of his pounding head. Nate stops, glaring at the conning flock of birds.
Would it kill you guys to shut up for just 1 minute?
As if on command, the jungle suddenly goes quiet. Nate freezes, then quickly ducks down beneath a massive rotting tree trunk. Then we see why the birds quieted. Suddenly, working on their way toward Nate's position are 4 Mercs, heavily armed, each with a radio earplug. Nate pushes himself deeper into the shadows as they pass either side of him. As they move on, Nate slips around to the opposite side of the trunk. He looks to be clear and then lead the Merc stops. The lead Merc raises his fist and they all freeze.
6 o'clock behind the tree. 6 o'clock behind the tree.
The Mercs turn eyes on the area and lead Mercs identified. Hidden behind the Mercs moment, Nate hears them move back to his hand. He sweats out. He sweats out, holding his breath. Mercs using his signals, they form a pincer around their target position. This lead steps ahead.
I'm gonna flush him out.
Lead Merc. The lead Merc creeps around the tree and his finger poised on his machine gun. Merc, excuse me. Merc creeps around the tree, his finger poised on his machine gun's trigger. As he rounds the tree, he can see a glimpse of his target crouched in the heavy shadows behind the tree. The lead Merc grins, but when he finally rounds the tree, his eyes go wide.
What the?
His target suddenly leaps out from behind the tree, and whatever this thing is, it isn't Nate. Creature moving blindly fast. We can only catch a glimpse of the humanoid form moving on all fours, grayish skin, talon-like nails, and blood-red eyes, and the creature rips into the unsuspecting lead Merc. Lead Merc screams in pain as his chest is slashed open. Oh, he gets off wild salvo of machine gun fire until his sword is ripped out by, oh God. Oh my God. Oh goodness. Yes. Garnishing teeth. Oh man. The other Mercs immediately open fire, but confusion reigns as the creature darts in and out of the shadows. Ever scattering the Mercs one by one in staccato flashes way. We see mortal wounds being inflicted, terrified yells, and the unearthly growl from the inhuman slayer. Nate, still blind to the unfolding events, nonetheless gets an earful of the one-sided massacre. Just when he's tempted to look, a decapitated Merc head lands right beside him. Nate's terrified. He bolts the other way. Exterior cliff day. Nate runs full out, stumbling over vines, daring to look over his shoulder to see the jungle rustling behind him. Whatever it is, it's giving chase. The sound of pursuit closes in on him. When suddenly he bursts into the bright sunlight, the jungle simply ends at a steep sea cliff. Nate tries to stop, but his moment takes him on the edge. He falls into the open air, just managing to grab hold of a root in the cliff wall, preventing him from plummeting hundreds of feet down to the rocky coast below. Nate, frozen, planting, listened to him for any pursuit. He hears nothing. He pulls himself up, so just one eye peers over the top of the cliff. Nothing is there.
Jesus, what the hell was that?
He climbs back and notices something in the distance. Port City. Just to the north, the same stone and mortar apart city Sir Francis saw 400 years ago, made all the more anonymous, but the heavy forest overgrown that's entirely enveloped, keeping it camouflaged over the centuries. Manate's attention is quickly drawn to the harbor. The pair of half-submerged ancient wooden ship lies wrecked on the rocky shore. Nate pulls out his binoculars, zeroing in on the prow. POV binoculars through the heavily peeled. The ship's name is still legible upon the prow. The Defiance.
The Defiance, son of a bitch, made it here. Good for you, Sir Francis.
Then Nate gets a flash of red in his eye line. He spots Elena's parachute hanging from one of the port's towers, but no Elena at the end of their harness.
Oh, crap.
Then there's Nate and examines the area, spotting a pair of pirates trying to be camouflaged, watching the parachute closely. A trap.
No, not Eddie.
Interior Spanish Port City Tower Day. Eddie looks at us, an intent to look on his face.
You broke rule number 1!
Eddie glares at Elena, who is being held hostage in the high tower room.
Well, unless he also broke the law of gravity, I'd say you're even. You saw the plane go down, didn't you?
You don't know what Drake did. The man survived more falls than Satan. He's out there looking big, or probably looking at Omaga right now.
What?
Disrespect what you gotta play games with poor Eddie Raja.
Eddie pulls out Elena's video camera and presses play. We hear Elena's voice in the earlier recording.
Just as we have reached the mysterious Isla Oculta in search of Omagua, we have taken out hostile fire.
Eddie stops on the table. Elena gives her best weird smile.
Can't blame a girl for trying, can you?
Maybe not. But I lost something when that fat fuck solely landed a plane on my head.
What did you lose?
Eddie calls over two of his most lethal-looking pirates, one of whom hold a giant Bowie knife.
My fucking sense of humor. You tell me something to get me that statue off the seal island, or you're gonna start losing fingers.
Exterior Spanish Port City Sea Wall Day. The 300-foot-high wall raises from the rocky coast to the base of the fort's battlements. The crumbling wall is covered with sulfidified salt and moss, and halfway between top and bottom, hanging by his fingernails, is Nathan Drake.
What the hell am I doing here? Why am I not staring at a 12-ton gold statue right now?
Nate manages to pull himself up to a higher perch. He looks up a long way down, and the bricks ahead have been smoothed flat by the sea. No handholds. Nat spots the thinnest of balconies to his right, finding an uneven ladder toward the top of the wall. Nate takes a breath and leaps sideways along the wall. He manages to just reach the lowest balcony, but he slips right off, just managing to catch himself with one hand. Nate takes a breath and leaps sideways along the wall. He manages to just reach the lowest balcony, but he slips right off, just managing to catch himself with one hand. Lungs bursting. He looks up, and the 200 more feet of wall he has to climb. Interior Spanish Port City Tower Day. Two of the pirates hold Lena in her arm down while Eddie is positioning the knife to cut her index finger.
Wait a minute. You can't do this. I'm just a reporter. I need that finger for my phone.
Why, not the... I thought it would be like the throw, but... Eddie...
Stop. I know what's really going on the island.
The pirates suddenly freezes looking at each other.
La Madida?
Lena puts together what he's talking about.
The curse. It follows Omagua everywhere it goes.
The pirates all turn to each other, whispering, but Eddie's not buying it.
You don't know nothing, Chute. Just a Spanish word for curse.
Really?
Real
I was inside the Temple of Amagua. Were you?
Elena sees the fear in the pirate's eyes, and her chances are retaining all her appendages.
Appendages!
Yes, yes, that's what I meant. Oh God.
Maybe you tell Eddie Raja what you saw. Maybe you still count to 10.
Spanish admiral? Spanish. I'm talking like Travis. Damn it, Travis!
I know.
A Spanish admiral, Alvarado, took the statue of Magua there. The Incas believed it would kill anyone who touched it.
Eddie begins to believe her.
We found a journal. A captain's log from the Spanish. Scariest shit you ever heard.
Go ahead, Eddie. Why not tell the reporter everything she wants to know?
Into the room walks Navarro, eyes glaring at Eddie. The pirates all step away in
Alvarado said Omega was cursed by demons. It possessed his men. They started killing each other, eating each other, so insisted on bringing Omagua back of Spain. Alvarado sunk his own fleet to stop the curse from spreading. Really? Then where is the statue?
Navarro just laughs and grabs the Bowie knife from the pirate holding it. He strides toward Elena, who backs away, grabbing her camera from the table.
I don't think so. Where is Drake? Are you protecting him? Is that it? Protecting? He blew up my boat, left me stranded, and pushed me out of a plane!
The arrow gets closer to Elena, your fingers tracing the time-sharp edge of the Bowie knife.
But still, here you are, trying to work these idiots' information. I'll say this is for Drake. He slings the finest line of bullshit on the world has ever seen. What'd he tell you? He give you the poor orphan boy story? Or did he say the long-lost descendant of Sir Francis line?
Elena doesn't respond. Navarro closes the space between them, his chest pushing Elena toward a window behind her. She looks out, hoping for somewhere to escape, but nothing's out here, but there's a 100-foot drop.
Just so you know, his real name is not Drake. It's Cruz. Personally, I like Cruz better. But it don't quite sell to the reporters, does it?
This one stings.
I'm wasting my time anyway. Nathan probably ditched you just to slow me down. Then again, I could use a little diversion right now.
Navarro uses the Bowie knife to start cutting a rip in Elena's shirt right between her breasts, but Elena has nowhere to go. Her back against the window. Then Elena hears a skitter of rocks. Skitter, skitter, skitter. And sees Nate hanging just below the window. Nate reaches in, grabs Elena, and pulls her out. Wall. Nate holds her by the back of her shirt, her body creating a powerful swing of momentum that pulls them clear off the wall, throwing them both sideways. At the last second, Nate lets go, and Elena flies out of her grasp, landing on a balcony, 1 floor below. Balcony. Elena rolls to a stop, and the camera slipping from her grasp and the teetering over the edge of the balcony.
Oh, shit, I'm typing. No!
She rushes over to it, but before she gets there,
A little help?
she turns and Nate's.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I get it. Yeah, I mean Nate's annoying hell. Stone crumbles and Elena looks at the camera at Nate. She rushes over and grabs the camera.
Are you kidding me?
Nate slips further just as he loses his handhold. Elena grabs him by the wrist and pulls him up.
You and I are going to have a long talk about priorities.
I risked my life for this story. Why in the world would you think I wouldn't risk yours?
Shots ring out. Navarro sticks his head out of the window above the unloads it, then they tumble inside. Navarro fumes as Eddie comes up behind him.
Damn banks, that looks like you let him get away. I gotta call this one into our banker friend.
One of the pirates pulls out a stat phone. Navarro shoots him in the head. He grabs Eddie, pinning him to the wall.
You're afraid of the wrong things, Eddie. You're afraid of Roman. You're afraid of the curse. When your biggest threat on the island is me. We find the statue. You're gonna beg me to be on my good side. Roman, most of all, do yourself the biggest favor of your life. Find Drake and kill him.
Exterior flooded city day. The upper levels of the building rise above the waterline, but streets level is completely submerged, creating canals. Heavy vegetation is crept in everywhere. Trees sprouting from the ancient foundations. Nate and Alina run away from the tower deeper into the flooded city, hearing Eddie and the pirates yelling behind them. That Nate pulls Alina down for cover a low wall.
You came back for me.
You don't have to look so surprised.
I do. I really do.
Elena follows as he runs onto the street. In the canal sits a red wave runner. Nate also spots Eddie and his men heading their direction.
Ready? We've got to run for it.
Nate reaches the wave runner, turns the engine over. Elena gets on the back. The pirates' gunfire riddling the water with bullets just as the wave runner takes off. Wave runner. Nate spreads the canal at full throttle. He looks behind him, spotting no pursuit.
I think we're clear.
Suddenly, a speedboat rounds the corner, coming up behind them. Eddie and the three of the pirates are on board, all armed with automatic weapons.
Hang on.
He turns for cover, weaving the runner in and out of sunken archways and the tree trunks raising from beneath the water. Bullets whiz all around them. Then, up ahead, the flooded street abruptly ends at a high wall.
You have the worst luck of anyone I've ever met.
Tell me about it.
Nate instantly turns right, only to find them streaking out toward the oncoming speedboat.
Nate?
I know what I'm doing.
Nate quickly banks to the left, using a fallen arch as a ramp to jump over a low wall to the next canal over. But the speedboat makes a quick pair of turns, getting on a parallel path to the wave runner. The pirate opens up fire, decimating the structures beneath the two crafts. Nate speeds up the wave runner, heading toward an overpass ahead. Just then, a pair of pirates run out on top of the overpass, opening fire.
Duck!
Nate reaches for the pistol and he's got tucked into his pants, only to have Elena reach out and grab it first.
You tried bad enough without multitasking.
Elena opens fire at the pirates, taking down one of them with his shoulder hit, but then the other pirate raises up, holding a rocket launcher.
Nate?
Hold on.
The pirate fires the missile, streaking toward them. Nate slams Wave Runner reverse, jerking into a halt. The missile submerges in front of them, but then explodes underneath as the water mushrooms up. Nate hits the gas again, and they soar upwards over the overpass. The bottom of the Wave Runner clips, and the stunned pirate sending him tumbling. The Wave Runner smashes back into the water on the other sides, and Nate throttles them forward again, and Elena notices a weird grin on his face.
Rye grin.
Rye, yes.
You were
Rye
not
grin on his,
trying to do that.
You got a better explanation?
on Rye, I wish. They round a corner and find themselves in a massive building. Its raised dome raising high above the city. Elena spins the speedboat, rounds nearby corner. Eddie and the pirates yelling as they spot Nate and Elena. The boat speeds towards them.
What now?
Nate looks around and they've got nowhere to go. He thinks quickly, looking down at the battered Wave Runner.
Hellburner.
Nate takes off the bow and stares, wrapping it around the Wave Runner's throttle.
What?
Get off.
Nate doesn't wait for Elena. Instead, pushing her off the Wave Runner onto the water, he then spins the Wave Runner toward the oncoming speedboat. The pirates fire away, but Nate keeps down long enough to tie off the controls and send the pilots where running in the speedboat's directions. The Wave Runner and speedboat quickly bears down on each of them. The pirates notice Nate isn't on the Wave Runner. Too late, and before they can turn back, boom, Wave Runner and speedboat collide, gas tanks erupting, men and debris go flying, floating debris. The remains of the boat smoke
The S
upon
is
the
not pronounced on debris, my dear.
Say what? Oh yeah, debris. Yes,
Debris.
yes, that's what. Yes, yes. The remains of the speedboat smoke up in the water. Suddenly, a hand rises above the water, followed by Eddie's wild-eyed. He lives He lives on. Exterior custom house, doomed rooftop dusk. Oh, I turned on Siri by mistake. Nate takes off his shirt, wringing his dry. He notices Elena quickly eyeing his naked torso with a grin.
The lady wouldn't look.
A dead girl would look.
Wow. From this vantage point, Nate and Elena can make out not only the entire city, but the lagoon below.
So Hellburner is some sort of kamikaze thing?
Drake used old ships as floating bombs against the Spanish Armada. I just updated the technique.
Elena's eyes narrow.
And you'd be the one to know, wouldn't you? It's really such a great story. The whole thing about you following in the footsteps of your famous ancestor.
I guess so.
What's to guess? Believe me, if you take away the whole Drake connection, this whole news angle becomes a lot less sexy, much less romantic. But that's not a problem for us, after all. We've got a real live Drake, right?
Sure. Let's get moving. Mago's waiting.
Exterior jungle day. Nate leads the way, nerves jangling, as he works through the jungle. There's a snap of a twig. Snap, twig. Nearby, and Nate spins, unloading a half dozen shots in that direction.
What is it?
Nate looks nothing there. He just shakes his head.
People trying to kill you and you're cool as a cucumber. But one little sound out here and you're ready to jump out of your skin. What gives?
It's nothing. Too much coffee, maybe.
Nate turns and comes face to face with the torso of a dead pirate, impaled on a tree limb. Elena instinctively screams, and Nate quickly pulls her away.
What the hell was that?
It's one of Eddie's men. At least this one's got a head.
What do you mean, this one? You know something, don't you?
I know a machine gun will come in handy.
He takes a machine gun and ammo off the dead pirate.
Eddie's men believed something killed the Spanish hundreds years ago. Something that's still out here. They called it, what was it? La Maldita?
Maldita?
The curse. Could it be real?
Nate is scanning the tree line, gun at the ready.
Of course not. Keep moving. I want to be out of this jungle 10 minutes ago.
It's like some kind of predator. Exterior monastery day. The creek ends at an overgrown Spanish monastery. Vines crawling line in and out archways that line when the entrance. A handful of mercs stand guard. Nate and Elena gaze at the monastery from just out of the sight. Nate watches as Navarro walks out from the monastery and yells something at the mercs.
He doesn't look happy.
Two of the mercs head for a villa beside the monastery.
They haven't found a Magua yet. Not only am I going to beat them to it, but I'm going to make that asshole pay for selling.
Lena spots movement by the villa as the merc comes out with a man walking between them. A man she recognizes.
Nate, I think you might want to reconsider.
Nate doesn't understand until the man steps into the light. It's Sully, bandaged but very much alive. Sully is brought over to the table where a series of maps are laid out. He and Navarro discuss the maps.
He's alive?
Good. Because I'm going to kill him.
To your monastery, close to yours. Cavernous room, lit by torches on a wall. Scones in the center of the space. Sully stands over a jury-rigged table, two sawhorses, and a slab of plywood. He's got a dozen of maps laid out on them. There's also 3 mercs here, one next to Sully and the other 2 in the opposite corners of the room. The door opens. Nate walks in, calm as an Indian cow.
Hello.
Hello, Sully.
Nate, holy Christmas.
The mercs immediately draw their weapons, but Nate is quicker. Blam, blam. Nate plugs the 2 in each corner. By the time he shifts the aim, the last guy has his gun out, and it's to Sully's temple.
Drop the guns.
Why would I do that?
I got a gun on your friend.
Oh, that's why you did that. I couldn't figure it out. Slight correction. You've got a gun pointed at the man who sold me out to your boss.
Burke looks at Sully, who can only shrug.
I can explain.
Can you son of a bitch?
I had to.
We were friends. I would have done anything for you, and you stabbed me in the back.
Come on, buddy. Don't get dramatic. No harm, no foul.
That's it. If you're not gonna shoot him, I will.
Merc spooked, he pushes Sully away, shifting his aim at Nate. Nate fires first, and the Merc goes down.
That was good, kid. Getting him to let go of me, thinking you wanted me dead. You got a future as an actor.
Nate just walks over and pulls Sully's shirt aside, revealing a bandage over his right shoulder.
Think I staged getting shot, kid? Now, that really hurts. It's just, things are complicated.
How complicated can it be? Is your cut on a sliding scale?
Sully turns to Selena entering. He stares at Nate.
Brought the broad.
Rod has a good question.
What?
What did it take to sell your best friend out?
Sully hangs his head. He doesn't want to say.
Cecilia.
Who? What?
My wife. Roman's got her.
Nate looks surprised, but Nate is epileptic.
Wife? You're married? How?
What happens in Thailand stays in Thailand.
After all the shit you gave me.
Why do you think I did that? Because women are a liability. And a guy like Roman knows how to take advantage of that. Look at me. Look where I am. Willing to throw away a friendship and a fortune, all for a girl. Good thing I raised you better.
So Roman gets a Magua.
And I get Celia. I know, it's not my best deal. If I knew Navarro was planning to kill you, I hope taking the bullet proves that that was never part of the deal.
Nate folds his arm, not sure whether to believe him or not. Nate is even less sure.
We can still win this thing, Nate. We can find him Agma, and we'd be holding the cards. It's nice to see that for once, before I sailed off into the sunset.
Nate's eyes, realizing what he has to do.
Okay, what have you got so far?
Elena's eyes roll. When Nate ignores her, she shakes her head and walks away. So he pulls out several of the old hand-drawn maps.
Tunnels, catacombs. See miles and miles of them. Roman has everyone searching, but nobody's found the tunnel that leads to the statue. Or if they did, they didn't live long enough to tell. You should know, Roman's already lost enough men to field a football team. For a while, I thought you were maybe to blame.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, I figured. Something's out there. I ain't saying the boogeyman, but something.
Nate looks for Elena, who is muttering to herself and filming the nooks and crannies of the cloisters.
I know what you mean. I saw something. You have to want to wrap this up fast.
It'd go faster without the dead weight.
You go before she goes, Sully.
So it's like that, huh? Well, beggars can't be choosers.
Nate looks at the map, then around the monastery a moment, then back to the map.
So you're saying they've searched every direction?
Yep. They practically turned this whole island upside down looking for it.
Realization hits Nate. He stands his finger in the middle of the table map. Middle of the map of the table.
And so the catacombs is here.
So he squints at the section of the map.
Nate, that's a palm tree.
No, not there.
Nate kicks over the map table. His finger points at the elaborate stone carving on the floor under it.
Here.
Elena hears the noise and returns. Sully cocks his head, taking in a wood roast on the floor, which compass points in the 4 main directions.
I noticed it the second I walked in. It bothered me, but I didn't know why. The compass is pointing wrong, upside down.
Yes, it is. He finds a seam in the stones and rotates the compass until it points to the right way. Boom, something shifts, and suddenly the stones around the compass lower into the ground at varying heights, forming a stairwell.
See? That's what we call teamwork, Blondie.
My real hair color is black, Sully. Like your soul.
Dirty blonde suits you better, sweetie.
Interior catacombs day, a stone subterranean tunnel extends in both directions. Nate's flashing illuminates the damp walls as he looks for identifying marks.
Say, how'd you get here anyway?
Oh,
Elena looks at Nate strangely.
Plane. Why do you have to lie about everything?
Plane. My plane? My baby? Where is she?
Nate shoots Elena a dark look.
my uncle. She had a bit of a hard landing.
How hard?
Granite.
Suddenly, there's a sound of gunfire. Nate looks up ahead as the sound of running drawn nears. Something in the darkness moving toward them. Nate points his gun, ready to pull the trigger when one of these pirates steps onto the shaft of light. Elena recognizes him as one of the men assigned to her earlier. Pirate. This guy doesn't look right. He is sweating profusely, eyes bugging out. He spins, turning his gun on Nate.
Don't.
But then the pirate drops his gun and grabs hold of Nate.
Thank God. Help me. Please. Get me out of this place.
Pirate's knees buckle and Nate helps him to the floor. The pirate's back is covered in blood and from several gashing wounds.
What happened?
Oh no. 1 minute I tracking you through the jungle. Then I wake up down here next to the big coal statue.
Oh, Magua? You're talking to Amagua? Where's it now? Show us.
No, we both run. They down there.
Who are you talking about?
Them who brought me here.
Pirate's spasms in pain. His face moves into the flashlight, revealing a greenish hue to his pupils.
Nate, look at his eyes.
Yeah, they're real pretty. Who cares? He can lead us to where the statue is.
Pirate's entire body tenses, then falls slack, dead. Lena pulls the Nate away.
This is bad, Nate. Everyone on this island is looking for a Magua, and all that guy wanted to do was run from it.
Behind the corpse of the pirate begins to move.
That's good in my book. One less sailor to dance with our date.
Sully turns, coming face to face with the once dead pirate. The pirate eyes become crimson red and vacant life, teeth gashing his blood mouth. He grabs for Sully, who gets pushed aside by Nate. Blam, blam. Nate puts 3 shots into the pirate's chest, but he keeps coming. It isn't until Nate unloads his entire clip that he finally goes down. Suddenly, they hear another noise, seemingly from every direction. It sounds almost like a scratching.
What
Is that what
the
scratching is?
heck is that?
Let's move and hope we never find out.
Well, it might be. Interior dark chamber day, large circular chamber with high, smooth walls surrounding it. The floor is covered with a heavy wooden grating that is pockmarked with holes.
It's a cistern. Great. Dead end.
Maybe not. I think there's another level up there.
Ellen points to a ladder affixed to one of the walls, just about 15 feet off the ground.
Get on my shoulders.
Then clambers Nate's back, clambering up the ladder.
Looks like there's an old hoist up here. I'll try to lower it down to you.
As Elena disappears in the darkness, Nate and Sully wait for her down below.
Girl's got skills, Nate. Honestly, where you find them?
Eddie comes out of the darkness, machine gun raised.
You can run, but you can't hide from old Eddie Roger. Now put down them guns, bells.
Nate and Sully drop their weapons.
Thank you for finding a way into this place, Nate. You make Eddie look good.
Eddie, we may have bigger problems.
Oh shit. But I can fix one problem right now once I shoot you.
Suddenly there's a scratching sound again from just outside the light of the flashlight's dark shadows move.
What is that?
Crawling out of the grating comes a grotesque form, the cursed. Whatever the thing is, it isn't human. Its skin is gray and taut. Tires of ancient clothing hanging like a shroud over pure muscle and bone. Its eyes are blood red. Eddie yells and unloads his machine gun, ripping through the creature. It goes down. Eddie raises his machine gun in victory.
Ha! Whatever it was, it's dead now.
I don't think it understood you, Eddie.
On cue, the creature raises again. Eddie fires again, and it goes down, but just then 6 more come up. Through the holes is this great grating, and Nate notices that one wears with a familiar helmet, a conquistador helmet.
What the hell are they?
Here. I think they're what's left of the conquistadors.
What? That make these guys over 400 years old.
Yeah, and they look it.
Hey! What are you shooting at?
Nate sees Elena pulling the hoister down them.
You don't want to know. Hurry up, Elena.
As the crisps begin to close in, the men close ranks.
Mind if we take back our guns, Eddie?
Be my guest.
Nate gives Sully a machine gun and takes back into his revolver. The crisps attack Nate, Sully, and Eddie open fire back to the repelling the creature as they close.
Nate, if we don't make it out here, I just want you to know one thing. I hate your guts.
The 3 men open fire, catching glimpses of the cursed in the flare of their muzzle flashes. For every hole they shoot, 2 more pop up through the holes in the floor. One of the cursed gets within striking distance of Nate, smashing him across the chest before he can put it down with a gunshot to the chest. When Nate wanted to take a moment of the creature, one of the cursed manages to grab Eddie, who drops his machine gun. The creature tries to pull him through the hole in the floor of grating.
Hold on, Eddie.
Nate rushes over and shoots the cursed, holding Eddie in the forehead, but even in death, it doesn't release in its grasp. Eddie falls into the hole, but Nate grabs hold of him at the last second. He pulls Eddie up to safety.
Why you save Eddie Roger?
You're right. Probably a mistake.
Nate,
Nate and Eddie turn around to see Elena has lowered the hoist low enough for Sully to reach up and grab hold of the small platform. But at the same time, a new host of cursed close in. Nate and Eddie retreat back toward the host fire. Nate helps Sully reach up and get on board the platform. Sully then helps Nate on board, but the ancient hoist creaks under the weight.
Nate, this thing can't hold anymore.
You'll have to.
Nate reaches down his hand for Eddie, who is still firing away at the oncoming cursed. Elena pulls on the hoist, lifting them away from the cistern floor.
Take my hand, Eddie. Come on.
Eddie reaches up and Nate grabs hold of the hand with Eddie still hanging on. They quickly rise.
Those fuckers didn't know who you messing with. They messing with Eddie Roger.
Suddenly, from out of the darkness, a pair of cursed leap up, grabbing hold of Eddie's legs. Nate tries to keep hold of Eddie, but he's slipping.
Elena, hurry up.
Elena struggles with all her might to keep the time rope from slipping from her hands.
I'm doing the best I can.
Eddie looks at Nate and his arms slip from Nate's grasp.
I still don't like you, Bill.
Eddie slips from Nate's hands, plunging into darkness. Interior tunnel day, the platform hanging behind them. Nate and the others rush off toward a nearby tunnel, even as the cursed come climbing into the cistern walls. Interior cave. Day the tunnel ends at the precipice. 30 feet below, a raging river rushes through the cave, appearing and disappearing in holes on opposite walls.
A goddamn dead end.
From behind them, they hear the same scratching sounds as the curse begin to catch up with them.
I don't have time for a dead end.
15 feet away, the combine remains on a bridge to the other side of the cave, where another tunnel waits. They takes off a full run. He kicks into high gear, leaping, now throwing his body into the air, legs and arms pumping, fighting for each and every extra inch. Smack, he lands his shoulder and skidding into a stop. He turns back around, his chest burning with pain.
Elena, Sully, jump!
But before he can jump, the cursed arrives, smashing into Sully and Elena, all tumble into the raging water.
Oh, hell.
Nate dives into the two after Elena and Sully underneath continuous. Nate walks into the water only to see the cursed attacking Sully and Elena. He grabs the one attacking Elena by the head and twists it violently. Crack. It goes limp and lets go of her. But the current pulls them toward the dark tunnel, leading who knows where. Nate grabs on the edge of the tunnel, and Elena with the other. He struggles to keep them from disappearing into the blindness. Who can watch the other cursed cuts into Sully in his razor sharp claws. Sully tries to swim away, but things too fast. It wraps him to his leg, moving to a finish line. Nate makes a tough call. He lets go of Elena. In one motion, he fires. The bullet rockets into the water, piercing the brains of the cursed, and it goes limp, releasing Sully. Sully slaps into Nate. They all disappear into the darkness. Nate's POV. We hear the sound of bubbles rushing, muted screams, but nothing but blackness. Until just a silver of dull light flashes before us, coughing, gasping breaths. I know what you thought. The interior small cave, a small narrow cave. Nate pulls himself out of the raging river on his knees, climbing over sharp rocks. Why? Because in his left hand is Sully, in his right, Elena. He hauls him up onto the silver of dry land, and suddenly immediately coughs up a gallon of river water. Elena doesn't move. Nate immediately begins chest compressions, then puts his mouth over hers and blows, coughing. Elena spits up water and revives. She looks in Nate's eyes, hovering above her.
You came for me.
You keep being surprised by that.
Oh, God. Not anymore.
She reaches a hand and pulls Nate down to her, planting a kiss on his lips. Sully groans.
Right? I'm sliced up and I'm halfway dead. So don't make me feel like a high school chaperone to boot.
Nate helps lean up, then pulls up a propane lighter, illuminating the dark cave. That Nate notices something in the shadows by the wall. A skeleton popped up against the wall. The figure is still dressed in the tatters of clothing. In its lap sits a small leather journal.
No way.
Nate pulls up the Drake journal, compares it. The skeleton has the same journal with the Drake crest pressed upon its leather cover.
Is it?
It's Drake.
Nate lifts the journal from the skeleton hands.
And this is the real last journal.
He wipes off hundreds of years of dust and opens it to where the ribbon bookmarks lie.
My end is near. The devils hunt for me in the darkness. I will choose my fate rather than lose my soul to Amagua. The Spaniards have unleashed hell and become as demons. My men are all dead, leaving the task to me alone. No ship will depart this island. A thing of such great evil must never leave these shores. In my final hour, I only hope I have found redemption for life misspent.
Turns to the journal to see its final half-written page.
To the men who find this last testament, I charge you with a mission I could not fulfill. Destroy Amagua. Bury its curse forever. Should you recover my map case, deliver it to my most faithful Cross. The only true treasure of my life is in Cross's care. There's nothing more for me.
Nothing more what?
That's it. That's all it says. I think he died writing it.
So what now?
Nate doesn't answer, his mind reeling.
Doesn't change a thing. What he wrote in there, some high octane bullshit. He probably had dengue fever.
Don't you try to poison Nate with your easy cynicism. This changes things.
Here we go.
Nate, it's like when you saved that dog. You made the right choice, and when you dove in to save me.
Dog? What dog?
In Sri Lanka.
Nate looks puzzled, suddenly knows what's coming.
I've never been to Sri Lanka.
Now Ellen's puzzled until she turns to Unsullied.
Slimy bastard. Is there anything about you two that's not a lie?
Wait a minute.
She points at the skeleton of Sir Francis.
Are you even related to him?
Ugh, not this again.
No. We deal with this now. I want to know if I'm wasting my time even trying to locate this conscience. Nate, please be honest with me just this once. Are you related to Sir Francis or not?
Yes.
My mother believed we were related to Sir Francis Drake, that Drake had a Spanish lover and she bore his child. That running through our veins was nobility, heroism. My father used that to con her of every penny she had, stringing her along with the trinket of the month and Lucas Drake research. When he left us with nothing, even as we scraped to just get by, she just believed it more. She needed it so bad she even changed our name from Cruz to Drake.
And you believed it?
Part of him still does.
No. I grew up thinking all these stories mean something. It's hard to let go, but Sully set me straight. Sir Francis didn't have heirs. His line died with him. Anything else is just rumor.
So you turned it around, living the lie to your own advantage.
Trust me. Nobody wants to invest in Nathan Cruz. But Nathan Drake.
What about the ring?
I stole it from a museum.
Lena shakes her head, equally sad and disappointed.
Did you ever tell your mother the truth?
I couldn't. It was all she had.
He takes the ring and puts it around Drake's skeletal finger. Just then, a bird flies down into the cave, squawking at our characters.
However that bird got in here, that's the way out.
Exterior jungle day is set of rocks split apart by a thin subterranean chasm. Sully is the last to pull himself out of the chasm, only to discover the wreck of his plane lying nearby.
Oh, no. How could you?
Nate stands by, nearby Drake's journal open, revealing an intricately drawn map.
Turns out we were practically standing right on top of it all along. Magua's not in the catacombs. It's hidden beneath the custom house.
Dear custom house, the inside of the doomed structure beams with light from the holes in the ceiling. In the center of the room, a thick stone tablet covers a section of the floor.
Help me out.
Sully and Nate pull aside the tablet. There's a growing sound, and sunlight raises, pushing aside 600 years of dirt and dust, and beneath the dials lies Omagua. It's even more amazing in person, nearly 30 feet high and made of pure shiny gold, adored with the strange and terrifying faces of gods long forgotten.
Oh my god, it's huge.
You know, if I had a dime for every time.
Lena shoots him a look that could kill.
How do we get this out of here?
Let us handle that.
They turn to see Navarro smiling alongside at least a dozen of the Mezzo thugs. They're surrounded.
Congratulations, Nate. You found Omagua. For me.
Custom house later, all three of them were on their knees, hands behind their heads, with 3 rifles trained on each of them. Navarro crouches down so he can look at Nate in the eye.
You are truly a dog with a bone in, my friend. I can't imagine being you, getting this far and getting just 10 feet from success.
You're the dog, Antok. You just fetch this for your master. You're just in it for a few table scraps.
Rage flies between Navarro's eyes, but he quells at it.
You still think this is all about Roman, don't you? You still think this is all about gold. You and Roman are the same. Conquistadors in different clothes. Gringos searching for something they can't begin to understand.
I take it you're the native who is going to enlighten us.
See, that's why you're still alive, hombre, so you can see my end game.
Enters with his
Bigger than even I imagined.
It must be big. It was built to bury a god.
Roman notices the captives on their knees.
What are they doing alive?
Hey, wait a minute. We had a deal, Roman.
I don't see you handing me your marble. Sully. Looks like you've run out of angles. Call in the helicopter. I want this netted and on the freighter now.
Really?
Why would you recommend another course of action?
Like I said, it was built to house a god. I thought you'd want to be the first to have a look inside.
Inside.
Meanwhile, Nate, Sunny, and Elena whisper to each other.
What's going on?
Nothing good.
You're telling me. You owe us on our deal. Can't just trust anybody anymore.
A man who's losing the love of his life. He don't seem too broken up.
What? Oh yeah, Sonia.
Cecilia. Oh no.
Of course!
You lied to me? About that? Sully, you son of a bitch. Why? Why'd you sell me out?
Because you're never supposed to find anything, that's why.
What?
How many years have we been searching for Drake? And what did you have to show for it? 2 things, Jack and Squat. So when Roman calls me and offers to pay off all of my markers, and all I got is to give him these Drake leads, I thought it would be easy money, and we were never gonna see. I thought I was scamming him. How the hell was I supposed to know that you'd actually find the thing?
Bet on me to fail.
I played the odds, kid. Maybe if I played the odds a little bit more, I would have, I wouldn't have to owe guys like Roman. Figures the one time I bet against you is the long shot that pays.
You are an unbelievable asshole, Sully.
I am aware.
Roman draws closer to the statue.
What's inside?
My people say that it was inside Omagua would make the statue himself seem as worthless as sand. Worthless as sand.
Walks up to the massive statue, dwarfed by its size. Inside, he pulls at an ancient hinges, groaning as the 30-foot-high lid swings open inside. Corpses, a terrible taut around its skeletal features, hands clawing in agony, mouths pulled wide in an ancient scream. Navarro smiles, no catching Nate's eyes.
Now, for the fun part.
As for a closer look, a soft wind blows over the exposed mummy. The wind stirs up a green bush dust from the rotting form, which Roman inadvertently inhales. He immediately begins to violently cough. Roman slams shut as he falls to his knees.
Navarro!
He's back to the others. Roman screams and anguish as his muscles splint. When you finally turn, he is
Hey, but what were you trying to stream?
nothing. When he finally turns around, his eyes have turned blood red. Pull tight. He is cursed. Roman lets out a piercing shriek and charges toward Navarro. Navarro waits until he is practically on top of him, then simply fires a bullet into Roman's head.
Adios, jefe.
Roman falls dead. The shocked mercs are quickly gunned down by Navarro's thugs.
I'm just reeling over the misspelling of jefe there. Getting the net around the statue now!
The thugs quickly move into action, covering their mouths with their shirts as Navarro turns back towards Nate.
Agua isn't the statue of gold. It's what's inside it. That corpse is the high priest, isn't it?
You and Roman were chasing trinkets, glittery metal and beads. I was reclaiming history, finishing the job at the Hualpa started. He wasn't just going to pay the ransom, you know. He was going to show the conquistadors the anger of the gods themselves. He was going to lay this curse upon them, but his men never made it back to him. They changed. The curse spread, and his own people perished.
You're going to use the curse.
Do you have any idea what the fear of this is worth in the hands of a man unafraid to use it? My people lost 400 years ago. Today, they're going to win.
You're either that or you're batshit insane and about to die.
Navarro just laughs in Nate's face. He levels his revolver at Nate's head, but he suddenly runs off the doom, scratching. The curse crawling through the overnight cranny comes into horde on the undead creatures. They instantly leap onto the midst of thugs who fire back desperately. Battle rages. Navarro is forced to turn his attention to Nate Magua, which is only partially bound in the netting.
Finish the loading of the statue! Hurry!
Navarro opens fire on the curse that charged the statue. The Mezzo thugs watching Nate suddenly and Elena are also distracted. Nate and Sully take advantage, spinning and knocking them out with a pair of punches. They take the thugs in. The rest of the mercs don't even notice, too busy mowing down the hordes of advancing cursed.
Come on, Eddie's boat is close.
Nate's eyes are glued to Amagua even as more cursed stem in, beginning to overwhelm the outnumbered Mezzo thugs. Lena grabs Nate's arm.
But they're dead. Let's not be them.
Nate gives Omagua one last look and they rush out, taking out a pair of Mezzo thugs on the way. Exterior flooded street day nestled between two buildings. The motorboat has been camouflaged by vegetation. Suddenly, Sully is the first to arrive, pulling vines. Not only does he find the motorboat ready to go, but he also finds crates filled with various gold and jewels encrusted Spanish relics.
Bless that slimy Indonesian bastard. Looks like we're gonna do just fine from this wild goose chase of ours.
Nate and Lena get on board. Nate fires upon the engine, which roars to life. The boat heads out to sea. Just then, there's a sound of wearing, and Nate spots the helicopter arriving at the custom house. A moment later, the helicopter begins to raise, lifting the bound Omagua out of the doomed structure. Nate can see Navarro in the cockpit next to the pilot. Nate pilots on the board closer to the canal wall.
What are you doing?
Sully, take the wheel.
Don't even think about it. We're rich enough with this haul.
It's not about the money, Sully.
Nate's hand absently goes down to his chest where Drake's ring once, but there's nothing there now.
Navarro makes it to the freighter. That curse gets out. I'm not going to let that happen.
Nate jumps off the boat and takes off toward the custom house. Sully grimaces at Elena.
Nathan! Sorry. I can't. I'm sorry.
Nice work, Blondie. Your big ideas just probably got my friend killed.
Sully pushes the throttle to full, knocking Elena back. Nate runs full bore, tracking the helicopter as it banks over the flooded city. Statue hanging underneath. The helicopter stays low, unable to get much altitude with the massive weight beneath it. Nate spots a Jeep on the edge of the city. He jumps into it. The keys are in it. He starts and races off, lands the helicopter. Jeep swerves in and out of the trees, although along the coastline. Nate actually gangs that on the helicopter. And that's when the cursed from him, hundreds of them, they pour their dark tree line, racing impossibly fast, heading right for Nate. Nate keeps the hand on the wheel while the others in the submarine on the passenger seat and picks off the cursed as they try to jump on the Jeep. If you land on the back, Nate ducks and hits brakes, and they fly in the windshield. Nate presses the gas again. He runs it over. Yes. Ahead of the helicopter is slowly gaining altitude as it approaches the hill. Nate guns the engine, racing up the hill after it. Two cursed jump on the back of the Jeep. Nate turns to fire at them. Click, empty. He ducks as they swipe at him, and then sees what is ahead is not hill at all. It's a cliff, nothing but 200-foot drop in the rocky shore. Nate jams the empty machine gun against the accelerator. The Jeep races to the cliff, and the helicopter that is now tentatively close. The cursed attack. They knock Nate through the windshield and onto the hood. Nate kicks one to his face. He turns. The cliff is right here. He crouches, and just as the Jeep shoots on the cliff, Nate leaps as high as far as he can. Arms windmilling, search for something to grab. Slam. Nate jams on one side of the netting on the bottom. The Magwan holds on for dear life. Interior helicopter dust. Navarro hears Nate crash into the statue. He looks down and spots near the base of Magua.
Dog with a bone.
Leaning out the door, keeping hold with one, opens fire with his revolver. Nate just manages to swing, hand over the other side of the statue.
Damn it!
Navarro starts climbing down the wire toward Nate. Nate reaching on the other side of the statue. Nate spots a dead merc trapped in the netting toward 20 feet above him. A holstered revolver is still strapped on the merc's leg. Nate starts climbing upwards, rug, but he finally reaches the holster and pulls out the revolver. Blam. Nate takes a shot, and the holder as up above. Navarro has climbed up to the side. Nate lands, and he's forced to drop his revolver to use the arm to stay up atop the statue. Luckily, Navarro's shooting angle is now blocked by the dead merc's body.
You should have just let me go, Nate. This here stuff doesn't suit you.
No kidding.
Just then, Nate spots a Bowie knife attached to Merc's body armor. He grabs it and then, looping his legs onto the netting, starts cutting away from the netting below. Navarro, the entire statue shifts downward as the netting below weakens. Navarro quickly realizes what Nate.
No!
Navarro holsters his gun, starts climbing towards Nate, cuts furiously away at the netting until Navarro reaches him, kicking at Nate's legs, trying to knock him loose. Nate pulls himself up, and the two fight hand to hand. Two men pound away at each other from close quarters, each trying to keep hold of the netting as the midnight blue of the deep sea speeds by below them. With his bad shoulder, Nate is getting worse of it, and he finally starts climbing up and away from Navarro.
Running away, Nate!
Navarro climbs after him. Nate reaches the top of the netting where the rope binds Amagua to the helicopter's lifting hook. Nate smiles down at Navarro, whose hand has gone stuck in the netting.
You want Amagua so bad, Adok? You can have it.
Nate starts cutting the rope.
Stop! The water is 2,000 feet deep. If you cut the rope, there won't be able to get the statue back. No one will.
Yeah, that's the idea. Adios, Adok.
Nate finishes cutting the rope, and the giant statue falls to the water. Navarro is still clinging to an ocean. The Berturian statue crashes into the ocean, drifting down with Navarro stuck to its side like Ahab to Moby Dick, disappearing to the blackness of the deep. Nate, clinging to the helicopter's hook, he hears yelling. He looks up to the pilot, pointing at him, motioning to a pair of Mezzo thugs atop the freighter.
Shoot him!
The helicopter dives to give him the thugs an easier shot. Freighter, one of the Mezzo thugs, pulls out a rifle and takes aim. He's got a square in his sights when a rifle butt cracks him from behind. Elena grins from the delivering end of the rifle. Behind her, we can see Eddie's boat bobbing beside the freighter.
You got this, Sully?
Sully stands up, carrying the surface-to-air launcher used against the plane earlier.
This is for shooting down my baby.
Sully launches the rocket, which streams out toward the helicopter, exploding it into a million pieces. Nate leaps off the hook just as the helicopter above him explodes. He tucks his arm and dives down into the ocean water. The flaming remains of the helicopter splashing down nearby. Elena looks concerned. Sully just shrugs.
What? Too much?
Coughing, they turn and see Nate bobbing among the wreckage, smiles all around. Exterior freighter deck later. Sully's laid out their treasure haul from Eddie's boat. Not a bad assortment of trinkets. No mother lode, but not bad at all. Sully's already polishing a gold urn, examining it to determine its value. In the distance, the island is slowly disappearing behind them. The ship is missing behind the ship. Nate bandages himself. Elena reviews footage of her video camera screen. Nate jumping off the boat.
If Navarro makes it to the freighter, that curse gets out. I'm not going to let that happen.
She stops the playback. Froze. Nate notices.
Everything okay?
He looks down at her precious camera, then flings it over the side of the freighter.
Why'd you do that?
I tell my story, and how long before every wreck diver in the world is swimming around here? But you are going to make it up to me, Nate. We're going to tell a new story. And personal redemption. Boy who grew up believing he was a Drake ends up fulfilling Drake's dying wish. Minus the mention of the Omagworth court, of course.
No one will buy it.
Oh, they'll buy it because I'm selling it and because it's true. I hate to tell you this, Nate, but I think you just became one of the good guys.
Nate smiles.
Whatever. I can't stop you from writing this any way you choose.
That's right. And if I'm going to make this character piece, I'm going to need to know my subject inside and out.
In depth.
Extremely. Up close and personal.
Sully reaches into the crates, pulling out a map box. A long rectangular wooden box, a familiar seal upon its cover, and once we recognize it from the journal, the seal of Sir Francis.
Nate? Come take a look at this.
Nate tears himself away from Lena for a moment. Nate looks up for a way to open it, but he only finds a ring-shaped intention. It has the symbol of a flame.
Damn it! Looks like it needs the Drake ring.
Why is that a problem?
Why? Because the damn ring is...
He turns and sees Elena dangling something on a raw hide string. The Drake ring.
You took it back from Sir Francis?
I had a feeling you might earn it.
Nate takes the ring and fits it into the slot, section by section. The intricate puzzle boxes slids and shifts until it opens. Only there is no map beside. All that is inside is an ornament, bejeweled baby rattle. Nate pulls it out, staring at it, confused.
Oh my god, Nate. The inscription on the box cover.
We move on a gold plate on the inside cover of the box. The inscription reads, "For Isabella Cruz, the guide to my stars."
Who is Isabella Cruz?
Wait.
Nate is shell-shocked.
Now let's not go down that road again.
Nate snaps out of it.
Coincidence, gotta be.
You sure?
As Nate wrestles with the answer, Elena grabs him by the shirt.
Doesn't matter. You're still my story, and you've got an exclusive to deliver.
With that, Nate swoops Elena up and carries her off toward the staterooms. The setting sun descending in the distance. Fade to black.
The end. Thank you for watching. I know it was a long read. Thank you for sticking it in with us.